the dial, turn it loud. Miami's pride, make us proud. CanesWear crew, you hear the crowd. Hurricanes ain't backing down. Every play, every score, raising bets and raising roar. Rocking orange, green galore. All for one and one for four. We got FTSN, taking names, win it again. Broadcast fam, till the end. Tune in, now let's begin.
Hello and welcome to the CanesWear podcast on this Veterans Day 2025. First of all, happy Veterans Day to everybody that has served, everybody is serving. Thank you so much for your service. Gio and myself and basically anybody doing these programs on podcasts throughout the country would not be able to be doing them if not for these fine men and women that have basically kept us free. So everybody, thank you so much to the guys and girls that have made a sacrifice. My dad served in Korea. He did not go to battle, but he loved his time at the army. Of course, he played a lot of sports and he was ready. So thankfully he wasn't called. But for those that were just in the U.S. or overseas and not fighting, whoever went ahead and joined the military, the old saying is they write a blank check with their life. And that's a wonderful thing. So thank you again for your service. We appreciate all you veterans. Remember, at CanesWear, 10% always off for veterans on anytime online, CanesWear.com or in the store. And working on some other good programs as well. I've got my military hat on and my military shirt. In the background, you see the military jersey, which I kind of liked a lot. It didn't have orange like some people wanted, but it was to go ahead and represent the military, which is what the job was. So today's 11/11. Besides that, we just got out the polls. The Canes have moved to 15. We are moving on up, as they said in the Jeffersons. We're moving on up to the Upper East Side, and we are number 15 in the country, and we are making noise. I said all along, if we blow every team out, 30 points was my goal. Or approximately there. We got 28 against Syracuse, so we will go ahead and make the playoffs. Because it's just going to happen. Teams are going to fall out, and the more we win, the more we blow out teams. I think the closer the spread gets between us and Notre Dame, who we beat in week one. Seems that everybody knows that except for the pollsters. So last week, one more thing before I introduce the most amazing co-host in the world, Gio. One more thing is last week I had a little bit of rant about Mario. I was very upset, as we know. It's like a lot of people. And I was very confident that we would come out with some different game plan. And the first 6 drives, we got 61 yards. And where most people were angry, I was more like, you know what? He's changed the offense around. They're doing it a little differently. Maybe we're just not that good. So I thought, okay, it's not the offense. Maybe we're just not good. But we turned it around, got the touchdown, did the Malik pass to Beck, which was awesome. And we did a lot of trick plays. And Keontae got the touchdown at the end of the half to go up 14-0 on the interception. And Canes fans were happy again. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. And remember, the podcast is on FTSN Network, Canes Talk Sport Network. Please like and subscribe. And we are sponsored by CanesWear, the spot Miami fan shop, CanesWear.com. We have our new app, CanesWear.com. Please go ahead and download that. We're going to be doing lots of special things on there. We're going to do contests on there and a lot of other things. And lots of new stuff we have in the store. And, of course, it's getting cold outside, like in the 50s today. So we've got lots of jackets like the cold weather gear, beanies, and everything like that. So come and check us out. And then we have the big game this week, of course, against North Carolina State. So you're probably saying, Brett, okay, we came here to see Gio too. So why don't we say hello to Gio? So Gio, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you for the introduction. Look, ugly first half last weekend, obviously, against Syracuse. Second half, much better. I know everyone's excited about what Gerard Pringle showed. I know everyone is also excited about Keelan Marion stepping up these last 2 games. Some positives to take out of all of that. Yes, Miami has hit the injury bug in some ways. I see a bunch of questions people have. I'll try to answer them as best as possible. There's some things I shared in the private board today that ended up making the rounds out publicly later on in the afternoon, but we'll touch on those subjects in terms of just health and availability moving forward for certain guys. And most of all of everything, number 15 in the playoff rankings. I mentioned last week when we were talking about this that I could see Miami at 16 or 15 by the next week. And some people said, oh, no, you're crazy. It's over. We're number 18. We're out of it. No, Miami's playoff chances are still very much alive. You actually have Texas playing against Georgia this upcoming weekend. You also have Oklahoma, who's going to play against Alabama this upcoming weekend. Obviously, Alabama and Georgia are the favorites going into that. Games have to get played. They don't get played on paper beforehand. So you got to see how everything shuffles out with that. But for the most part, I know there's also been a little bit of discourse ever since the rankings came out, because then there was projections by ESPN, which followed right after. And everyone saw, wait a minute, Miami number 11? They're in the playoffs? Oh, no, we're in. All we have to do is just win out, is what everyone started saying. And I said, wait, hold on. And I kid you not, Brett, I got into arguments with several people over the last 2 hours trying to explain this, that ESPN's projection that they put out was under the assumption that Miami wins out and also makes it into the ACC game and wins the ACC game. If you are a Miami Hurricane fan, you do not want them to be number 11, because the chances that they make the ACC game right now are still very, very small. It's very small. A lot more chaos needs to happen in the ACC for that even to be realistic. So if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, at minimum, you want Miami to be number 10 in the final playoff rankings. If they are number 10, they are in. They will get an at-large spot in the playoffs. So that's where you want them to be. They're at 15 right now. They actually leapfrogged over Georgia Tech as well, who was ahead of them, who didn't lose, by the way. They were idle. They were on a bye week. So I think what you've also seen from the committee tonight is that they are willing to leapfrog Miami over other teams, as long as Miami wins and puts up performances that impress. Was the first half impressive? No, but Miami did end up covering the spread in the end, and they won convincingly at the end of that game against Syracuse. So here's what it is, Brett. It's style points from here on out, because teams ahead of them are going to lose. Because I know people are going to point to, oh, but what about BYU? BYU just lost to Texas.
I was surprised.
BYU just lost to Texas Tech. And let's say if BYU does get past Cincinnati, who they have coming up, who Cincinnati is not going to be an easy out for BYU. Brendan Sorsby is a really good quarterback in college football. Even if BYU gets past Cincinnati, they have to face Texas Tech again in the Big 12 title game. And that game between the two just this past weekend, it wasn't even close. Texas Tech slaughtered them. So they would have to totally regroup and prepare for Texas Tech again in the Big 12 title game. If they lose that Big 12 title game, BYU is out. Even if they don't lose to Cincinnati, everything will handle itself there. Now, the other thing is, people bring up Utah and Vanderbilt still ahead of Miami. Well, Vanderbilt still have Tennessee still on their schedule. There's no guarantee that Vanderbilt gets past them. Vanderbilt has actually lost to every ranked team they have played this year. They have 0 wins against ranked teams. The committee has already shown
this week. It was so close.
Yeah, it was very, very close. They were about to lose to a team that they had no business losing to. So Vanderbilt might be a little bit of fool's gold as well. Now, when it comes to Utah, they don't have that good of a resume at this point either. All this boils down to is very simple. Like I said just a moment back, Miami, you want to be number 10 at minimum when the final rankings are released after conference championship weekend. You are number 10. You are in. You are in the postseason.
Gio, I feel we need to win convincingly, because we don't want any SEC teams with 3 losses to be ahead of us with 2 losses. We see we're ahead of Georgia Tech, And obviously, there's other teams ahead of Georgia Tech with 2 losses.
Well,
Notre Dame.
I think what you're seeing right now too with the committee is a very large demonstration that they have done that they do not want a smaller market ACC team in the playoff. Yes, there's the auto bid for the ACC, which Miami's very unlikely to get. You have to be in the ACC game and win that to get that bid. So that's why I said earlier, number 11 is not going to cut it for Miami. They want to be number 10. But
this is going to be teams that squeeze in that win it, that win their conference championships.
So you look at last year, for example. Look at a team like SMU when they got into the playoff last year. They got clobbered. Clemson, they were okay in the playoff. They kind of backdoored into the ACC in the final week, actually. No thanks to Miami allowing that, but that's a whole other story. So I think what you're seeing is that the committee does not want smaller market ACC teams into the playoff. They're not going to cram these ACC teams in just because they're competitive and that, Virginia's had somewhat of a good or decent year, and Louisville and these other teams that Georgia Tech, for example. I think your darlings of the ACC has always been what it has been. They want your Miamis, your Florida States, your Clemsons to make the playoff. The committee had no problem with Clemson getting in because obviously they won the ACC, but it's good for their ratings as well. So the point I'm getting here to is there's also a scenario here, Brett, which is really interesting, where let's say a Manny Diaz coach team, which is the Duke Blue Devils, if they have, because they're still in the hunt for the ACC championship right now.
They're ahead of us.
Let's say if they happen to make their way into the ACC game and they win that, USF will likely be ranked over them as a G5 school. And James Madison, which is one of the other better G5 programs in the country right now with only 1 loss to this point and good chance they could entirely win out the rest of the way. They could be that other bid, that other auto bid. And this is the way it works, that people overlooked this when they saw that first ranking, that people jumped and said, oh, Miami at number 11 at large, no ACC team. Wrong, based on the projection. But what can play out is USF getting in at number 11 as your 4th team, because 5 teams get auto bids from conferences. It's your 5 highest ranked conference winners that get the 5 auto bids. And you have 7 at large bids. So James Madison continues winning. And then you have some weird situation where like a Duke or maybe even an SMU, like even though SMU beat Miami, they could find themselves on the outside looking in because of what their overall record is. So if one of those teams like that end up winning the ACC, it's going to create even more chaos. And if one of those teams win the ACC, they probably won't even be in the playoff. It's crazy in itself to think about, but
so somebody can win the ACC if it is a Duke, for example, and if there's 4 other teams ranked ahead of them that won their conference championships, right? Correct? Even though we're a Power 5, it doesn't matter. Or Power 4, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so
all Power 4s automatically get in, you're saying?
No. It's no longer automatic for Power 4.
All right. So other teams can get in. If USF wins out their conference, or even, Memphis has 2 losses in that conference too, right?
Yeah, well, Memphis is kind of out of the discussion right now. Yeah. So it's USF and James Madison in that discussion for G5. And if like a Duke or SMU wins the ACC entirely, even if USF they did that, they could find yeah. Well, good chance USF could actually.
There's a lot of teams this week playing. Just looking over the games real quick, a lot of teams that are playing. That obviously any team that's playing with it above us is an important game to us. But Oregon is only 8 and they're at 8-1. Last year it seemed like they were higher. So if they lose to Minnesota, which is possible, 8-2, would they drop below Miami at 8-2? I don't know. It is possible.
Oregon is on a razor's edge right now.
They just squeaked by this week.
They just squeaked by. The resume's not very good.
Mhm.
That win they had over Penn State does not look very good anymore either. So, I mean, then you can make the case that, like Penn State played Indiana close. Indiana was very close to ruining their ranking just this past weekend too. I mean, they got Mendoza bailed them out at the end, but that was a close one for them. That would have been a very upsetting loss. But Oregon, if they lose one more game, they're done. They're absolutely.
So you think at 8-2 they fall behind us?
Yes, they would.
They're 8-1 right now.
Their resume is very weak this year. They are hanging on by a string right now. If they lose one more game, they are done. They can kiss their at-large bid goodbye.
Now, Alabama plays.
And there's a chance they could lose because they still have USC, who, by the way, their quarterback, Jaden Mayama, he's pretty good.
Yes.
He's actually pretty good. And they still got Washington on the schedule too. So Oregon is not out of deep waters yet.
All right. So they got 3 games that they could lose. So that's interesting. You got Oklahoma, Alabama. Obviously, everyone should be rooting for Alabama. I would think so for Bama. But Oklahoma puts them 3 losses. They'd be behind us if we win out. But if Alabama loses, you've got 2 teams with 2 losses. Either one of them could get 3 losses. And right now, Alabama would be. I mean, who's leading the SEC right now?
Your SEC leader right now is Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. All right. So,
but mind you, here's where chaos could still happen. Texas A&M still has Texas on the schedule too. There's just so much more chaos that could still happen.
Yeah, exactly. Virginia's playing Duke. Obviously, one of those teams is going to Virginia. They each have 1 loss in the ACC right now, right? So one of them's going to go to 2 losses. Obviously, Virginia would be a team that could be ranked high. I don't know if their quarterback was cheap hit, as my son Matthew, who went to Virginia, a cheap hit on their quarterback. They took him out of the game. They lost that game. I don't even know if he's playing this week. So we shall see.
Yeah, he's very questionable to play this week.
So, so we've got some good games here. I think I saw that, obviously, Tennessee's got a pretty easy game. Mississippi, could they lose to Florida? They lost to Florida last year, didn't they?
They did. They lost to a Florida team that they shouldn't have lost to last year. So
and I was surprised. Florida
Look, Brett, I'll put it to you this way: should Miami have lost to a team like SMU? No, Miami's a more talented team, but this is why the games get played. It doesn't get played on paper.
Then we have Texas and Georgia. So obviously Georgia wins that game. I mean, we should be ahead of Texas anyway. I mean, everything stacks
up. Miami has the common opponent win
of Florida
with the Florida game.
Exactly. But obviously that doesn't matter when you're talking about SECs or Notre Dames. But it also doesn't matter because we lost 2 out of 3 games. If we close the season strong and blow out all 4 teams, which is possible. This is a tough game for us, but we're 15-point favorites. Obviously, odds makers think higher of us than the Canes do on the field.
This is why I jump back to I'm going to jump back to what I said earlier about what the committee showed tonight by having Miami leapfrog Georgia Tech. And the reason why I bring this up is Georgia Tech was idle. They were on a bye week. Yes, they did lose to NC State, but it wasn't like they were blown out. It was still a very competitive game. I think it was like 48-36. But here's my thing with that. Georgia Tech didn't lose or anything. They were literally on a bye week. They were ahead of Miami. And then Miami leapfrogs them. What this leads me to believe is that I think the committee is staying true to their word in an extent that, look, Miami, our problem with you is what they've been saying, consistency. We want to see more consistency from you guys. We don't want to see that you're one of the better teams in the country 3-4 weeks ago, and then now you're struggling and you may be slightly dead in the water right now with your offense, is basically what they're saying. So I think style points definitely does matter here. You have to continue to win and win convincingly. And I think Miami could leapfrog another team or 2. They already did it tonight. They did it tonight, and it wasn't a team that just came off a loss this past
That's
week.
amazing. I didn't think I thought they would be ahead of BYU, but I did not think they'd be ahead of Georgia Tech.
I think there's some correction going on by the committee, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they're giving Miami the opportunity, like, look, you could have a shot to get in, but handle business. Obviously, there's going to be some teams in front of you that are going to lose, but, we would just want to see that you could actually do it.
I think they have to justify that Notre Dame being so far ahead of us. And it's hard to. It was when we lost 2 out of 3, but now if Miami continues to win, that gap should shrink a little bit. I mean, not to say Notre Dame is a different.
Yeah, well,
they're
one of the committee heads had shared this, that if Miami and Notre Dame were within 3 spots of ranking between each other, that they would weigh the head-to-head much more heavily. I will say, though, at the end of the day, if Notre Dame wins out, they're going to get in regardless. I don't care what the committee says, that they say,
they're definitely getting 10 wins, because I think both them and Miami win. I think they'll both be in.
Yeah,
they don't.
But the party crasher this week, which could just create even more chaos. Pitt has Notre Dame this week. They play each other. If Pittsburgh wins that game, the chaos within the rankings is going to be ridiculous, and it would make that season finale for Miami at Pitt like basically appointment TV. Like you have to watch that game. It's college football playoff implications on the line.
Correct. I mean, obviously, if Pittsburgh loses, it's Notre Dame does not count as an ACC loss, though. Correct.
Okay,
so
even though it really should, I pointed this out to some people this past week. Just a news flash here for everyone who's not aware: Notre Dame, half of their opponents this year are from the ACC. So they choose to be in the ACC for other sports, but for football, it's not convenient.
I think if
you
the
wonder
ACC
why,
would drop the hammer and said you must, and just if we would have Notre Dame in there, we would have no TV contract problem.
I think in this era, Brett, that it should be a requirement. You want to play in the playoffs, join a conference. You need to be in a conference.
Nobody's bigger than the conferences, or nobody's bigger than the league. Notre Dame signed that contract with NBC so many years ago, and it changed everything. And they got that contract way before, obviously, the SEC and the Big Ten got their giant deals. So that was a long time ago. So we're going to get to the questions and comments. I just want to add, I thought the offense I was very happy, very satisfied with the shakeup. I thought to myself, were these plays in the playbook the whole time, or we had to dust them off to page like 145 and 146? I mean, where is this? We're throwing to the right tackle. We got the quarterback in action catching a pass. I mean, it was a beautiful game. I thought we left a lot of points on the table. I thought Beck was not 100% sharp on his short passes. That one pass that he threw to the Syracuse defender, I'm almost the thought that maybe Beck is colorblind or something, because he threw to the open guy, but it was the wrong guy. And I said to myself, is there something wrong with his vision? Or was the guy supposed to cut right? So the other thing in this game is Gerard Pingle. It's going to be hard to keep him out of the lineup. I don't know. Is Fletcher back this week?
No.
He's
likely to be out. People have asked questions about injuries and whatnot. So CJ Daniels, that's kind of up in the air. He may be good to go, may not. Ahmad Moten, I heard something that he should be good to go this weekend. And one last guy, well, everyone's been asking about it because it's been starting to make the rounds, but I mentioned something on the private board earlier this afternoon. It was around like 3 o'clock or so, 3 or 4, that I had overheard that Keontae Scott had gotten nicked up and could miss some time. So I don't know what the timetable is on that or anything. I'm not going to get into detail, but that would be a very tough loss.
It's everywhere.
It absolutely would.
That came from you? It's all over everywhere as he's out for the season.
No, I didn't say he was out for the season. I just said that it was that his status was in question, and that I was not given a timetable how long it would be.
Who will replace him?
You're looking at a guy like Xavier Lucas, who took some of those reps.
He played very well.
Yeah, he took some of those reps in the Syracuse game. Cam Pruitt could fill in there too, Isaiah Taylor, but will largely be Xavier Lucas and some of Cam Pruitt there going forward.
So Keontae got hurt in the game?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why Lucas was in there so much. Okay. I wasn't on the celebration of the interception.
Yeah, it wasn't believed to be serious at first, but sometimes these things they could flare up after.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, all right, so let's get to the questions and comments. Giovanni Foster, welcome to the show. First question: I heard Keontae is hurt. Is he out for the season? And Gio, you're saying the answer is, as far as you know, no. Correct?
Well, not necessarily no. Just that just wasn't given a timetable and that his status would be in question.
All right.
I don't want to go into further detail than that.
All right. Same from Giovanni. How long will CJ Daniels and Moten be out for?
Yeah, so I mentioned that just a moment ago that Moten, there's a chance that he would play this week. So,
all right. Didn't he play last week?
No.
Justin Scott. There for some plays last week.
No, Justin Scott.
Okay.
All right. Last week.
Terp 305 Gio is always late. Well, we're here now. That's the good part. I actually am always late too, so it works out perfectly for me and Gio. We're meeting here at 8:45, and we're both.
And then it'll be like 8:57.
Exactly. Angie Silverman, CJ has a broken hand. Is that correct?
I have not heard that.
That's what CJ says. He's Miami Kid Jay throwing up the U. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Andy, Hassan, Gio, and Brett. Good evening, fellas. Brett, I hope you're calm today. Just kidding. Nothing but love for you, buddy. Thank you, Hassan. I am very calm today. But I've heard on good rumor that Mario was watching the podcast, and that's why we went to the new offense. Also, what surprised me is we called the timeout at the end of the half, I think, went to get the ball back, even though they went and drove down the field. But when they called that timeout after first down, I'm like, what? Did somebody take the or did he just listen to the podcast more than I thought? Did you notice that, Gio?
Yeah, I saw that. It was a nice change. Even though it didn't go their way, you have to respect it that there was a change going into that regard. I loved it.
Dolphin Derek, welcome to the program. Go Canes. Jake, Semper Fi, absolutely. Happy Veterans Day. E. Whitty, what are you guys' thoughts on CJ Bailey?
I think he's a good quarterback. I'll be honest and very blunt about it. I think Miami made a mistake by passing on him when look, I'm not trying to single out individual kids or whatnot, but you had Bailey in your backyard and you willingly chose to go after Judd Anderson. And then they tried to circle back at the end of the cycle to get CJ Bailey, and NC State was consistent with him throughout. I mean, can bygones be bygones if he ends up hitting the portal or whatever? Many situations get talked about. Miami, it has a lot of momentum right now with a running back that they stopped recruiting for like half a year. So anything is possible.
There are a lot of rumors that he's coming here. He's 6'6", correct? And
he's 6'6". Yeah, 6'6". He could run. He's about 210, 215.
Okay. So I've heard a lot of people saying he definitely could be someone that comes here. What are your thoughts on him about the game? How are we going to contain him?
Well, with the Keontae Scott situation, it's definitely a little more of a challenge. You got to replace that production in some capacity, however that may be done. So I think that's going to be a challenge right there, number one. Number two, not even just Bailey, but Hollywood Smothers, the running back. I think he's a very dynamic athlete. Miami's going to have to account for that. So they're going to have +1 in the running game with Bailey's legs as well, between him and their star running back. The other thing when it comes to Bailey, defense has to keep everything in front of him. And what I mean by that is trying their absolute best to not allow him to get on the perimeter, like on the run, scrambling horizontally. I mean, to extend plays. That's the biggest thing that stands out there, that they have to try to limit that as much as possible. So I would think a guy like Marquise Lightfoot would be very key coming into this game. You need to have him have a really good game. I think the linebackers need to do very well in terms of spy responsibilities on the quarterback. So I would put it at that. And safeties, absolutely have to be disciplined with their eyes.
Gio, one thing that I found kind of strange is, I mean, Syracuse ran for like 170 yards against us. All right. And they scored 3 points until when we pretty much had the second and third stringers in. I would have liked to keep the first string men and keep them to 38-3. I thought it would be more impressive, but, I know there's injuries and things like that you got to worry about. But they ran for 170 yards and had 3 points. SMU ran from -4 yards in regulation, and they had obviously a lot more points. I mean, Syracuse didn't have a bad passing attack. I mean, how do you relate that we gave up 170 and we gave up 3 points? Is it takeaways? It didn't seem like there were that many, or is it?
Well, I think is some of that the turnovers. Obviously, Keontae Scott getting that pick six definitely helps. That's more than just flipping the field. That's
but it doesn't take away points from them.
Side.
They only had 3 points with that much rushing. It was.
Well, I think Miami's red zone defense in general was just better overall. I think it was just more sound defense. Even though you asked me, I think they did more than enough with SMU and Louisville games to be able to win that. I pin that more on offensive troubles, but I think it was just a pretty good performance. But at the end of the day, too, I want to halt myself there as well because Syracuse has not been one of the better Power 4 programs throughout this season. So I think this weekend is more of a test to see, is Miami getting over the hump in some aspects with the offensive struggles, or is it more of the same? We'll see.
Correct. We asked them to run outside. They ran outside plenty of times. We asked them to drop some other plays, and they did. So hopefully, I thought that would be the case. I said that was going to be the case. Not that I know anything. But and then I just said, hopefully he doesn't just fall back to okay, we tried it once. We showed you all we have it. Now we're going to go right back up the middle. We shall see that. Danny, welcome to the show. Will CJ Daniels or any of the injured players make it back this weekend? The answer is no. I'm most likely to that, you're saying, right? Gilbert Reyes, what's up? It's freezing in Connecticut. It's cold here too, Gilbert. I hate to tell you, but it's like in the 50s here. It's beautiful weather here. I hope you're not too cold. I know it's snowing in the country.
For that over there for them in Connecticut, they jump in a pool right now, no problem.
50. They would love this. I love this weather. I mean, I don't know what Connecticut's got to be. What, 20s or teens right now?
I haven't checked, but it's probably got to be around there around this time of the year.
So it is a cold front. So the good news is we have lots of starter jackets, lots of hoodies at CanesWear, Gilbert. I know you know us very well. Gilbert, the intensity is what I am looking for. I want to see the whole brotherhood and being togetherness we had in the beginning of the season. I agree on that. Did you see more of that this game, Gio?
I'll be honest with you. I've never really noticed a problem with that at the games this year. At least that I've been at 7 of the games already. I haven't really noticed that problem about like chemistry issues or whatnot.
All right. Paulo, welcome to the show. What happened to that Michigan State cornerback transfer?
Charles Brantley just didn't crack through the competition, basically. Guys won out. OJ, Damari, Xavier Lucas, O'Connor, Keontae Scott. Just boils down to that. I don't know what will happen with him after this because from my understanding, he's out of eligibility after this year. So that's kind of it. It's crazy because he was one of the better cornerbacks. He was one of the better cornerbacks in the Big Ten at Michigan State. That's the crazy thing.
That is amazing. That's the one negative, not one of the many negatives of the NFL transfer. You're doing well, you're at. Don't leave. The grass is not always greener on the other side.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. Look at guys like there was this kid that they had last year. Unfortunately, he had an injury going into the season. Wasn't Thomas Gore. Thomas Gore was the kid before him, but there was one last year. It was the D tackle that he came from. Was it Georgia State or Middle Tennessee? I'm forgetting his name now, but he was the one that he ended up committing to Miami on the same day of like signing day when the whole Jeremiah Smith, Marley Cook.
Exactly.
He ended up getting hurt right before the season, and it didn't really work out. He was like slightly in the rotation, but wasn't playing a lot compared to his previous stop, and And that was it. That was the end of the line.
No, that is a very difficult thing for these players. That is a drawback of the transfer portal.
Oh, absolutely. And even the prospects of like when some of their football careers come to an end, because I've talked about this with former players or guys that have just finished playing. And that's one of the biggest things for them to tackle is like it's been a lifelong dream of theirs. And for it to come to like an abrupt stop is a really tough thing to accept.
No doubt about it. Gilbert Reyes, this is what I was going to say before. Thank you. Pack the rock. This crowd obviously was not what you'd call a better prep. You know, everybody was down on the program, but now we won. We all know now we have a path to the playoffs. Okay, at 15 here, we need to. I mean, let's get out there. North Carolina State can be a difficult team. They did. They gave Georgia Tech their only loss, correct?
Yeah.
And you know, they've got an excellent quarterback, and we want that quarter. A lot of people want that quarterback to come here. I know he's from this area and he understands the fans and University of Miami football. But let's pack the rock. I mean, there could be more. We could play in the Orange Bowl game here, which would be great. We could get a home game. It's going to be doubtful on that one. And, of course, the national championship, the dream scenario would be here. But right now, that ticket's going to be a lot cheaper to go to this North Carolina State game than it's going to be go to that national championship game or the Orange Bowl game. So,
well, I'll tell you this, Brett. Let's say some wild scenario. They get to the semifinal. No, not the semifinal, the quarterfinal. They could have a game here at Hard Rock.
Absolutely. And we don't even have to be a home team in the first round. But, you got to be in the top. To get a home team in the first round, you have to be, what, 5 through 8?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So 5 through 8, which is possible. But we have it's scary to say we probably have a better chance of playing in the second round in the Orange Bowl game. But let's pack the rock. Please, let's pack the rock. I mean, it just looks so good for the players. I mean, it looks so good for the recruits, and it makes the players feel good. And this is one of the loudest stadiums there is when it's crowded. Let's make a difference. We didn't have to make a difference against Syracuse, but we did against Notre Dame. We did against Florida when it came down to that. So important for the fans to be there.
Well, Brett, I want to pose this hypothetical question to you because I've pretty much stated it that the magic number for Miami, unless anyone, how many people are watching? We have close to 1,500 people watching the first 30 minutes here. If anyone who's been watching, if you think any possibility of just absolute ACC chaos the last 3 weeks and somehow Miami gets an ACC game, which I think is crazy in itself to believe that could happen. But let's say Miami gets that magic number of 10. And let's say everything somewhat stays sort of the same, whatever, not much movement from 1 through 6. That would be a first-round matchup, 10-5, versus Georgia. I believe. Yeah, no. Would it be Georgia? Hold on. Wait. I need to take a look at the bracket. I might have just said that wrong.
If Georgia wins out, are you making based on now?
Would that be a Miami? I got to look at how the seating. I believe it's 5 and 9. So who would 10 play? I need to take a look at that again.
Just call me.
1 second here. Hold on. No, I have. Here we go. Here's the bracket. All right. So 5 would play. Wait a minute. Hold on. I still can't see this. Here we go. No, 5 would play 12. Sorry, I totally got that wrong. 10 would play 7. So that would be a matchup with Ole Miss. Currently, the way things stand right now, just if nothing changed or whatever, if Miami got to number 10, they would play Ole Miss first round on the road.
So,
and then if you got past that, you would have to play Indiana in the quarterfinal, which would have quite the storylines in itself because Fernando Mendoza, Columbus guy, South Florida, and yeah.
But do we believe that Indiana's going to have to play Ohio State, aren't they? So you still think they would get a bye if they lose that game?
That's a very tough question because I think a lot of that boils down to how close that Ohio State and Indiana game is. And even like the SEC title game, like let's say if it remains Texas Tech and Alabama, like if it's going to be those two, how close is that game? Or does one team blow out the other?
Mhm.
And then you have other teams that will creep up into the into the auto buy from 1 through 4. So there's just so much that could still happen. Actually,
Alabama. I mean, if they lose to Oklahoma, and then they lose to Texas A&M. I mean, if they're the team, but right now it would be Georgia. So yeah, there's so much to go. It's exciting. So the best place to see all the scores though is sitting in the OB. I almost said in Hard Rock and watching them flash across there. But we've got the 3:30 game. Let's pack the rock. Let's make the home field a difference. This is the kind of game we need the fans at. I'd hate to think that if we had a full house, we'd won, and we didn't have a full house, and we couldn't make them jump off sides or something like that. Maybe we can even out the penalties a little bit. Patrick Conyers, welcome to the show. We moved up to number 16 in the CFP poll. Now let's see which Miami is going to do show up against North Carolina State. It's my opinion they're going to screw this up by coming out flat, which wouldn't be surprising. All right. Now, is Patrick a Canes fan? I believe he is, right?
Yeah, no, I've seen his name around before. I'm
Yeah,
sure
so Patrick is confident. We're actually number 15 in the CFP poll, and I think we're going to come out strong. We've got to come out stronger than we did against against SMU. In their game, we scored 10 points. Then we followed that up with Stanford. No, I'm sorry. We did Stanford 7 points, SMU 10 points, and then this game we had 0 until about 5 minutes to go in the first half. Correct? Yeah. I don't know how many points did we score in Louisville in the first half.
That was
It's a blank.
14.
So
we have started off like so long ago.
we shall see. We shall see. It's been a crazy week. So good point. I hope that's not the case, Patrick, and I know you hope so as well. Ro, welcome to the show. We need to be 9 or 8. Yes, we do. We want to be as high as possible. That's for sure. I mean,
yeah, no. Obviously, the higher the better, but the minimum Miami needs is.
We're talking
10.
polls here, folks. Go, Gio. Sorry.
No,
as high as we can.
I agree with what he's saying that, yeah, it would be great to be 9 or 8, but the minimum Miami needs for at-large bid is 10.
So we need the minimum 10. I think, the way things shake out, if we win big on these 4 games and Mario understands that it's not just winning a fist fight and trying to get a split decision from the refs at the end. We need a TKO or a knockout in every one of these games. Let's say you better love somebody. Welcome to the show. Canes, if you win, you're in, just like last year. I mean, there's been many years we've been able to say that when we're in, and it hasn't happened. But you're right, just like last year. And it's funny, this same Syracuse team is a team that knocked us out. We are now we're 7-2, and they're what, 1-7?
No. Syracuse has won 3 games this year. They're 3-7 now.
They're 3-7 or 3-6. So yeah, so it's amazing that they obviously had a better quarterback last year, but they've gone completely backwards. And even with a new quarterback, even with losing our top running back and our top receivers, I mean, you do have to give Mario credit. We are in a similar situation. A lot of people thought with losing Cam Ward, losing Restrepo, losing Martinez, that we would not be that good. And then at the beginning of the season, here we're thinking we're better. So we do have to give Mario credit for that. Lewis, welcome to the show. Hey, just joining. Is Keontae Scott out for the year? And the answer to that is we don't think so, but we're not sure. Correct, Joe?
Yeah, no, just that his status is just up in question. That I was overheard that he was nicked up in Saturday's game, and just there was no timetable given for his return. So
could it be a miracle and he just plays this game?
I doubt it on that.
All right. I mean, he didn't get carried off the field. He didn't limp off the field. I mean, but he didn't play much in the second half.
Correct.
Did he get hurt right after the interception touchdown? So that was late.
No.
Okay. Let's say Hassan. I hope Miami would score more so they can shut up that teenage acting punk coach Fran Brown. I can't stand his annoying arse. I mean, and I just realized Juan Manuel's not here on this Tuesday night, so Hassan is taking over the comedy. Thank you, Hassan. Gilbert, do we want Notre Dame or Pitt to win, Gio?
If you want Notre Dame to win, then you're going to want some other teams to lose. that are a little ahead of Miami right now.
Mhm.
But if you're a Miami fan, I know this sounds crazy because then everything all becomes a pivotal game on like the last week of the regular season. But if you want Pitt to win, then you have a winner takes it all in what is it, week 14, week 15 between
Mhm.
Miami and Pitt on the road for a ticket to the playoff.
But if Pitt wins the game, it doesn't. If Pitt beats Notre Dame, if we went out, we beat them. All right. Even if we lose to Pittsburgh, so we need to win out no matter what. If
Yeah,
Pitt,
you got to win out no matter
if
what at
Pitt
this point.
wins, if Pitt wins, beats it, Pitt loses to Notre Dame, we still need to win out.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. But I think we can't pass
But
Notre Dame.
it is
Notre Dame on our own.
it's an easier path if Pittsburgh were to win, but there's still several scenarios that can absolutely play out even if Notre Dame wins this weekend.
It's better for fans, I think, if Pitt wins, and I don't think they will, by the way. But if they do win the game,
I don't know because I think their coach is playing some reverse psychology with the media this week. He said Pat Narduzzi said something about because a reporter had asked him, "Oh, is this game important for you guys to win or whatever?" He's like, "Oh, well, it's not really a conference game or whatever, so I don't really care. We could lose like 100-15, and I don't really care, because it's not the conference."
Mm-hmm. So you feel this is reverse psychology?
I think so. I think Pitt's going to come out very motivated.
If Pitt wins this game, though, it sets up, if we win out, to be a really exciting last game. And I'm not saying anything, but more fans will go, more fans will buy CanesWear. So let's go, Pitt. So Gilbert, I'm rooting for Pitt. Roe, yeah, true. If you win a conference seat, you win in.
Yeah.
If we win a conference seat, meaning, if you win the conference,
it boils down to the 5 highest ranked conference championship winners. So like that scenario we talked about earlier, like if Duke or SMU were to happen to win the ACC, there is a chance that, well, not even a chance. South Florida USF would be ranked over them, and there's a chance that James Madison could be ahead of them. So that would leave the ACC champion out. So, yeah.
So as a Miami fan, we've never won the ACC championship. So it comes down to it, let's just say, we win all 3 games, and we pretty much know we're going to be in the playoffs. But let's just say we win all 3 games and something crazy happens, and now we're in the ACC championship game. We could lose that game and be out of the playoffs. And
not be in the playoffs, yeah.
So would you rather, as a fan, win all 3 games and go straight to the playoffs? You don't have to pass go. You go straight to the playoffs. Or would you rather win all 3 games, go to the playoffs, and take that risk?
I think if you talk about just the longevity perspective, I think it would be better for Miami since they've hit not a major injury bug, but a slight injury bug here at the end. I think if you're a Miami fan, you would prefer to just go straight to the playoff rather than playing the ACC game. I know everyone's been wanting that elusive ACC title for Miami, but I just don't think it aligns correctly for Miami this year with the aspirations.
Well, the good news is, Gio, no matter what we want, they're still going to have to play the games. They'll have to work out. But I agree with you there. Despite the fact, Gio, as working for CanesWear, it'd be much better for the store to go to the ACC championship, everyone buy their starter jackets, and then we win that game and go on. But I don't want to take that risk. I would just want to go right to the playoffs. That'd be a really good feeling. We get a chance to heal. That is a great feeling. And
here's the other side to that coin. Let's say we're talking about so many hypotheticals here, but the only true realistic one right now that's like actually possible and could seriously happen is, Miami getting in as an at-large at minimum number 10 in the seeding. But let's play the game here of hypothetical. Let's say if Miami did get into the ACC and they won their next 3. Here's the thing. With an ACC title win, potentially they could move up even more in the seeding and have home field advantage in the first round. So, you got to kind of weigh the two.
That's a good point. Could we get a bye if enough teams lost up top?
If enough teams lost, then yeah, creates
Would
a
a
bunch of
two-loss
different
Miami
scenarios.
team that won the ACC be ahead of a one-loss Indiana team that lost the Big Ten?
That may be tough because they really love Indiana this year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a two-loss Miami team that wins the ACC ahead of a two-loss Alabama team that loses the SEC.
No, I think they would still. I think they would still favor
Even
Alabama.
though when it comes down to it, we did play a common opponent and we beat them and they lost.
That is true, but then again, they haven't been consistent because the
Correct.
first rankings they had Notre Dame all the way up front, and then
The
Miami
goal
had
is
back at
we
18.
win all 3 games. At least we can go play with these semantics and see what happens. You better love somebody. What's crazy is Florida beat Texas. Exactly. Speaking of common opponents, we beat Texas. Texas, really, who has Texas beat?
They
They beat Oklahoma, right?
Well, yeah, they beat Oklahoma, but Mateer was coming off a hand surgery and everything.
So yeah, Texas is really who they beat. They didn't. Arch Manning is. I mean, Beck has not looked that much. Who's looked better, Beck or Manning? It's very close. I think Beck's looked better than Manning.
Yeah, it's a give or take there.
So it's not like so. All right, Gilbert, let's win. Let's see, 727. BYU looks terrible, and I was surprised that they're still ahead of Miami. A lot of that Texas Tech could be a dark horse. They got a lot of money in their program. They may be better than people think.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. Maybe I get the cake thrown in my face for saying this now later on, but I don't think the Big 12 is that strong of a conference to begin with. I think Texas Tech is dealing with a really easy schedule, in my opinion.
Hassan, Gio, did you see the stats that Manny showed up from True Media?
That Miami has 33.
Miami has 33 more penalties than their opponents. I saw that video. Great video.
Yeah, no, Manny Navarro did a really good job with that, going down the metrics. I follow Manny, and he follows me on X, so I saw that earlier today. That was a really good breakdown of it, and he even put down the categories of the teams of that are in the playoffs and everything, and how their metrics show. It's kind of crazy.
It is
how much it's gone against Miami. It makes you wonder, yes, there's the procedural penalties, the false starts and things like that, but it does make you question it a little bit.
When you see the SMU guy standing over our guy and taunting him, nothing happens. But you see our guy, it's amazing.
Here's the thing. You could make an argument that there was potentially even targeting on that play. If you rewatch that, I know Lofton dropped the ball and everything. Shouldn't have dropped that. He should have held on to it, let's be honest, and should have sat in the soft spot in the zone rather than running straight into a defender. But that's a whole other discussion. However, you rewatch that again, it could or could not be targeting if you rewatch it again. He kind of led with the crown of the helmet on that hit.
And I mean, it's hard to say this. I mean, it's hard to not think this. But even the penalty, was it on Lightfoot? When Mario called, called the timeout.
Oh, that was very ticky-tack because
they don't call that on other teams. I don't believe.
I know that was 2 weeks ago, but it was very ticky-tack, and the reason why I call it ticky-tack because it's not like the guy even ended up on the ground. He picked him up to prevent him from going to the ground, and they still threw that.
Exactly. I mean, and in that same game was the fumble, right? That they didn't call. In their deep territory. I mean,
but then a week later, the ACC calls a fumble for a very similar play.
I mean, I don't know if you call it atrocious, egregious, or what, but it has been terrible.
By the way, there's a specific head referee in the ACC that has called more penalties against Miami in every single game. It's almost double.
Really?
Yeah, I think his name was it Joe Magallanes? Let's see.
Magallanes, okay.
Yes, I have it right here. Yes.
And
Jerry Magallanes.
I love the way.
Here's the discrepancy. The only 2 games where Miami went over double digits and penalties were the 2 games that he was the head referee. 13 penalties against Florida State on the road for 114 yards. And then, lo and behold, 12 penalties for 96 yards on the road against SMU.
Wow.
And he was the head referee both of those games.
Is he the head
Look,
referee?
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but
with sports betting, I'm not saying sports betting because they could easily just bet on Miami. But
college refs don't get paid that much to begin with, so
correct.
It raises the question.
I mean, I was very happy when Dabo spoke out about the ACC refs. I was very happy when who is it? SMU coach called out about Notre Dame being ranked ahead of us. It was ridiculous so far. Even the ACC threw in their 2 cents. And obviously they said that it's crazy that Notre Dame is ahead of us at all, let alone by, at that time, was it 8 spots? But the point is, It's like, okay, the ACC needs to look in the mirror and say, it's incredible Miami is getting all these calls against them, and the team they're playing is getting barely any calls. I mean, wasn't there a time that there was no team last year that got an offensive holding call while they were on offense, while we were on defense? It was like through 11 games, I think. Yeah. That's almost impossible, and there's holding every single play.
There's only been, I believe this year, only 4 times it's been called when Miami's been on defense.
I'd like to know, maybe on the other team, that, how many times it's called against other teams in the ACC? Because if it's called like 4 times, maybe they've got called 10 times or 12 times every team, then there's something wrong. It's like, and you know that Ruben Bain and Mestor are probably the 2 best ends in the conference. And they're being held all the time. So I don't know. Got to talk to someone about that.
Raymond Rodriguez. Yeah, he said he's here for his weekly fitted hats update, Brett.
So New Era, there is a deal. There are no fitted hats available to us right now, they told us, Raymond. So thank you. There are some hats, but not any. But right now there's a deal with Adidas and New Era they're working on, and we're trying to see how it's going to work, because Adidas may be giving all their hat work to it, New Era. So I need to find out how that's exactly working. But they were supposed to send us their hats, but there are no more fitted hats because they were a very minimal ones they made for this year. It was a test situation. So right now we don't have them. We do have fitted hats coming in. We have a ton of new hats that are coming in, but I don't think we have any of the New Era fitted. So thank you for asking that again. I'm going to follow up more with them tomorrow. Danny Price, will Pringle continue to get more playing time? Because he should. By the way, I saw Pringle, I mentioned to Gio before, has a touchdown in every game he's played. He's played in 4 games, he's got 4 touchdowns.
Yep, that's absolutely correct.
And he looked, I mean, I had a guy on my left of me. I was sitting with some other people this game, me and Jeff, in one of a customer's suite. And the guy on the left of me knew everything about it. He loved Lyle. The guy on the right did not like Lyle. The guy on the right loved Pringle. He said, and Pringle hits that hole so fast. I mean, so fast. And I don't know, he seems like he's got explosiveness to him. So, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think Pringle is going to get more time? Do you think Lyle he had an opportunity this game, only 7 carries, of course, but Lyle didn't seem like he was able to get anything going with that offense.
Yeah, well, I tend to believe this when it comes to running backs. Sometimes you may have a guy that has the hot hand, which is why you see a lot of committee approaches now in college football. The other thing I'll share, I know people are down on Lyle right now because of everything that's gone on this season. He hasn't been exactly himself. He was hurt, missed a good majority of games, hasn't really found his footing in the rotation and whatnot, hasn't looked exactly how he did last year too. He had a really good offseason, and then it just kind of got derailed from there after getting hurt against Notre Dame. So you hope it's not a lost season for him. Sometimes it happens with some guys, some injuries get in the way. I'll give a perfect example, even though I think people were a little too critical of Ruben Bain last year, but he didn't have his best year last year, and then came back stronger this year. Akeem Mesidor, even the same. So sometimes injuries, they can absolutely play a big factor. So I want to caution people, don't write off Lyle so quick. I think people have I call it shiny new toy syndrome. And this is taking nothing away from Gerard Pringle, because I talked about this guy a lot over the past year. Runs a 10.4 in the 100-meter. Super fast, very sudden with his movement. But I tend to believe it's more of a hot hand in a committee, and Pringle had a really good game. Do I think he's going to continue to play more? Absolutely. Coming off a performance like that, he will absolutely play this upcoming week. Fletcher is probably not going to play this weekend. So, yes, you will see Pringle at some point, whether it's early on or mid-game or late game, whatever the case may be. I do anticipate that you'll see more of Gerard Pringle.
That leads us to Danny's next question. Is Mark Fletcher out for the season?
I have not been told that. The only thing I've mentioned before is that what I was told was that he could miss a few games here. So, yeah.
All right. Kane, not to be confused with Gio. They can't talk about injuries. Mario will ban them from the facilities. All right. Well, that's why we're not talking about it. But thank you for Gio. That makes sense. Is OJ out? Danny, is OJ out for the season? Is that CJ supposed to be or OJ? Oh, that's OJ, right?
Yeah. So vet talk with brother Vince said, as a veteran, I need to buy me a military Canes jersey.
Yes, it is an awesome jersey. John, who a great guy that works in the store, does a fantastic job. Who is an Army veteran. He wore it to the game. He loves that jersey, and I do believe that is. I remember you get 10% off that jersey for being a military. Thank you for your service. When Canes podcasters say, I can't say more than that about a player, it means the player's out of the season. All right, Ralph, thank you for letting us know that. But as we said, we can't say certain things, and nobody knows what's going to happen. Carl, JK is the portal QB we should get. JK.
He's talking about Jaron Q. Sagapalute at California, the freshman quarterback, the lefty.
At California?
Yeah, he's the one that just upset one of these ACC teams this past weekend, actually.
And he took over for Fernando.
Yeah, he's a true freshman this year. Yeah, he's a really talented kid, but I've heard that Cal is going to try to scrounge up everything they absolutely can to try to keep him. So
it'd be interesting if we took a guy that's a freshman. Here we've got Nickel, who we value, and then we've got the other kid coming in. And who everybody loves. I forgot his name offhand. But it's to bring in a sophomore to come and compete against those guys would may or may not be wise, and it may or not be wise for us. I think because we have another quarterback coming the following year, right?
Coleman, yeah.
We have Coleman, and then another quarterback coming. Don't we have somebody that would? So yeah. So I think it'd be difficult to bring in a guy. I'm a sophomore, but what do I know? Hassan, Gio, and Brett. I know we don't know what's hitting the portal. Who's hitting the portal? But if you guys had to pick, who would you guys take? Sellers, Bailey, or the Cal quarterback?
I know a lot of people would jump immediately to Bailey, but I think just from a ceiling perspective of like what it could possibly be. I know not everyone's a Sellers fan, but I do think it could be a good match between the two. I also have the belief that this offense runs better under a quarterback that is more mobile. And I don't mean mobile as in the sense that could pick up a couple yards with their legs vertically. I mean horizontally extending plays, just things that you would see Ward do. Not saying they have to be Ward, but similar aspects. I do think it could go a long way for the offense. So I'll say Sellers.
All right. Interesting. What year is he
in? He's got one more year remaining.
All right. So that's the kind of guy we want. Okay. And that's the same with Bailey, one more year remaining, right?
No, Bailey would have two.
Oh, we'd have two. Okay. 818 Cali Kane, welcome to the show. Did you guys talk about the rankings? We did. But to recap, for anyone joining late, we are 15th. We are very excited right now. We think the pathway is there. Gio, you want to add to that?
What about the?
For anyone that didn't hear about the rankings before, if you just want
to. Very simple. Miami 15th in the rankings tonight. They leapfrogged over Georgia Tech. They are the highest ranked team in the ACC right now. And I want to share this again because I had to argue with some people for almost 2 hours about this, trying to explain it to them because a lot of people assume that, oh, Miami number 11. Oh, we're getting in at large. The ACC is getting left out like that. It's not like that. it was on the assumption, at least from the ESPN projections, that Miami would go to the ACC game being the highest ranked ACC team right now and win that, and then, get their auto bid through there. So here's the thing with that. Where you want Miami to be ranked when it's all said and done, when the final playoff rankings are out, you want them to be number 10. It's anything 10 or lower is gravy. They are in as an at-large bid. 11 or 12 in rankings, bad news in the final week. Like in the last rankings, that means they're out. So the other scenario that comes to play here, ACC. Could Miami get in? Yeah, very, very unlikely, though, to happen with how it's shaped up right now. There would have to be even more chaos to happen for that to be a realistic situation. But if Duke or SMU, they're both in contention to play for the ACC title game right now. If one of those two make it in and win that game, there's a very good chance that they could be ranked lower than USF and even James Madison, who's in the discussion right now for potentially being a playoff team when the rankings are all said and done. They could be in the picture. So the way the rules work is the 5 highest ranked conference champions. So if the ACC champion is ranked lower than USF and James Madison, an ACC champion will not be in. I know it sounds crazy because they're a Power 4 conference, but that's just how it is. It's the 5 highest ranked conference champions get the automatic bid into the playoff. So again, very short summary. If you're a Miami fan, you want to be at least number 10 by the last ranking. And it's still very doable.
All right. So, all right, number 10 or better. Jake, Gio, since Bert is busy with the store, could you possibly hook Carson up with Arch and get him to see Warby Parker? His tosses to the other team have been concerning to me. And I agree with that. I said that earlier. When he threw to that guy that was wide open and it was the wrong jersey, it was kind of scary. I mean, he looks like he was throwing right at him, too. It could have been our receiver should have gone right instead of left, but who knows? Gilbert gives the number 30. Not sure what that was, but you got that, Gio? Gio, there's only been 4 holding calls against our D-line all year. Shaking my head. Wow. I know that is amazing. That is the statistic.
That's egregious.
We have the
That's egregious.
That's egregious, atrocious, whatever you want to say. Let's see. MDKR, how long is Keontae out? We are not sure. We said earlier. Correct, Gio? We can't. You can't throw a Tuesday night show at us out of the blue like this. I missed half of it. Not cool. 1 milligram of epinephrine. Yes. We do need to get this down better. We're sorry, but the good news is it is on delay as well, that you can see it. We are going to be on what, Thursday night or Friday night, Gio?
Believe Friday. Let me double check that.
No, we're going to try to do 2 twice a week this week. We apologize for that 1 milligram. We did put it on X. We did put it on X, and we did put it on Facebook. But we appreciate that. If you're saying it, you're missing it, then we're doing something right. Not everything right, of course, because we didn't tell you in time. Danny, I want guys to like Pringle and Upshaw, get more guys like Pringle and Upshaw to get more opportunities moving forward. Do you think they will, Gio?
Yeah, I could see it with Pringle. With Upshaw, it may be tough. I know he had a really nice tunnel screen play. Right? He made some guys miss, got upfield 40-something yards. If Daniels is back this week and if they get Tony Johnson back at some point, that changes up the rotation a little bit there. So we'll have to see. But Pringle will play, though.
Upshaw's 15, right?
Yeah, he switched from 13 to 15.
Okay, because I couldn't even find him on the roster. Everyone's saying, everybody was saying, who is that? Who is that?
I mentioned it during the game because I was like, for people who are confused, 15 is Upshaw. He changed his number in recent weeks. Reason why he did that, for just little simple insider for people. So both him and Bryce Fitzgerald play special teams at times, and they both were wearing 13. So Upshaw decided to change his number to 15 and doesn't have to constantly switch a jersey number in and out every other series. So yeah.
All right. You say the only other 15 is who? Low, is it? Defense?
No, Hayden Lowe wears 14. The other person who wore 15 before for the defensive side was Markeith Williams, who's no longer with the team.
Okay.
And there actually is two number 15s on offense now because Judd Anderson wears 15, but he hasn't really played at all. So,
All right. Cool. 727 Canes. I think Miami offense looked like they had lost their confidence in the first half Saturday night. Bad body language, I think he's saying.
yeah, I think you could sort of make that argument, but at the end of the day, it's about how you finish. So,
Correct. It's how you finish. And you know what? It's like people said that we had to get in there on a trick play or whatever. I said at that time, I'm sure a lot of other people said that are smarter than me, said, you know what? That got us going. You just need sometimes to loosen up the pump and let the water flow. 1 milligram, Miami didn't get a playoff invite with 10 wins last season. Why would they this season?
well, it's very different field of play this year. Just even the way the rankings are shaking up right now. And the other thing too is there's a lot of recency bias when it comes to the committee too, which is why Miami has to win out. I feel bad for the teams that are like playing each other right now that are right near the bubble or are inside of that bubble right now because they could be on the outside looking in just by losing one game in one of these final weeks now. There is a lot of recency bias when it comes to the committee.
And also, we are 7th in the ACC. If you look at it, we're the 7th team down. I mean, some teams have one loss.
It's crazy.
We're 7th, the lowest of that group, but we are ahead of all the 6 other teams in the poll. Try to explain that. So we're 7th in the ACC race, but we're 1st in the ACC in the CFP poll. So if we want to make sense, we can't.
I'll be honest with you. I think the committee's thinking is they believe Miami is better than what a couple of their losses have shown. That they think Miami is just tripped up along the way, but they're a better team than what people may think nationally.
Remember, pretty much every national host and everything was talking about Miami is the best team in the country, even better than Ohio State until a few weeks ago. Hard to imagine that was the case, but Miami is better. Their record is the same, but we beat Notre Dame. We beat FSU, who at that time was supposed to be pretty good. And who knows, if they would have beat us, maybe they would have been good. Maybe we derailed their season after they lost the game ahead of us, Virginia. Also, we beat USF, who was ranked at the time, correct? And we manhandled these teams until we took their feet off their throat and let them back in the game. If we get to the playoffs and play at Hard Rock, I will be spending lots of money at CanesWear. That's from Gilbert Reyes. Thank you, Gilbert. We appreciate your patronage. So let's go Canes more than ever. Carl at Geo. Okay. Next commit after, is he talking to you or Geo Kane? Who's the next commit after Logan Nagel and Isaac Chukwuemeka and Jalen Lott?
I'd keep an eye on someone potentially this weekend outside of some of those names you mentioned. I don't think Jalen Lott would commit right now. There's still ongoing conversation there between the two parties with them and the Oregon commit. He's also a Texas legacy too, so I know they're a little involved there. But Gavin Mueller, the tight end that is visiting this weekend out of the state of Illinois, Miami is super, super excited about him. They had him for an unofficial visit 2 weeks ago. He's back for an official this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if they get him to flip by Sunday or Monday, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if that one ends up happening. So
awesome. Brett, I love that polo. Canes Cats Heat 305. Thank you. This is the military polo from the military collection. It's got the OHT and a little like sergeant patch there, and it's an awesome polo, and I recommend it highly. And you know where you can get it, Gio?
At CanesWear.
Absolutely, with this hat, actually. An awesome hat. I said to my wife, do I go with the backwards hat or the frontwards hat? And she said, go with the front because you can see the tag and the U on there. So some people may join late.
Good choice.
We have a great military selection this year, and happy Veterans Day again to all of our amazing veterans who make these shows possible. We wouldn't have them, Gio, if it wasn't for the people that have put this country first and made us the free country we are.
Absolutely.
Ralph, yeah, he's got that polo and the hat matching. Cool. Thank you, Ralph. I'm not that Geo, fellas. So Geo's not Geo? We kind of knew that. Thank you. I thought it was a mirror image. Denise Rodriguez. Geo, what's up with the injuries?
Yeah, we spoke about the injuries earlier.
We spoke about the injuries as much as we could earlier, but thank you. This is like when we had a sidetrack of the show with the Florida State fans or the Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Like
now
the injuries are the breaking news. And it's amazing we went this far in the year before we actually had to talk about injuries. Pitt got to play GT, also a must-win game. True. So how many games? So Pitt has Notre Dame, and they've got GT?
Yeah, they got those two.
So that's 2 tough games. And we know GT
and they got
Georgia.
Miami to end the season.
And we know GT has Georgia, which they could lose to Georgia, and they could lose and obviously still get into the ACC championship game.
Yeah, we'll see about that Georgia and Georgia Tech game, because Georgia Tech took them to a whole bunch of.
Oh, they should. I thought that game was going to cost us the playoffs, and I really did, because Georgia Tech, I thought, would have to be out of the running if they had lost to Georgia Tech. But you're right, that was an amazing game. What's the Jet 305 saying here?
Except Pat is a damn fool. Not sure.
Okay.
Jet 305 said, "Sounds like a bozo." Eddie, it might have been something we were talking about earlier. Eddie Delva said, "Pitt win." Oh, yes, they were talking about. They're making their comments about if they preferred Pittsburgh or Notre Dame to win this weekend. 818 Cali Kane said, "What happens if Notre Dame and Miami end 10-2 and Miami's in the top 10 spot and Notre Dame in the 8th spot? Wouldn't they put Miami up since they have head-to-head?" So here's the thing, 818 Cali Kane. I mentioned this earlier in the show when we were talking about all the rankings and the hypotheticals and what needs to happen and this scenario and that scenario. Just simplify it a little here. This is something that came out of the committee's mouth within the last 2 weeks, that they said, "Oh, well, we weigh head-to-head more heavily if 2 teams are within 3 ranking spots of each other."
Oh, that's what he's bringing up.
So it's just funny enough, Brett. It's so convenient that Texas coming into this week, I believe they're number 10 or 11, and then Miami being at 15. So, they won't consider the common opponent thing. How convenient that is for Texas.
That's interesting. So if these teams lose, Cali Kane's great point. So we're going to move up. So now they did come out and say if within 3, because 10 and 8 is a big difference, right? Because 5, 6, 7, 8, the 8 gets the home field. So that would be awesome. Thank you for clarifying that, Cali Kane and Gio. Jet 305, all Miami has to do is control what they can control, and that's handling business the next 3 games. And I think they have to win them convincingly. I think we can still get in if we squeeze by them, but if we win convincingly, I think the pollsters are going to say, hey, this is the Miami we saw that beat Notre Dame early in the season. If we're squeaking by, I don't think they're going to be as confident in us. And it is a pageantry. This is a pageantry.
It is.
The Jet 305, no, I'd rather make the ACC championship game and go there and win it. Okay, so he's saying from before, which we said, if you had your choice, would you rather go to the ACC and play for a chance to lose and be out, or would you rather walk in the door without playing the ACC championship game? Obviously, best of both worlds. We play it and we win, but as Gio said, the championship is everything. The week of rest may be more important for us, correct?
Yeah.
And there's 1 milligram. ACC championship game is useless to us. Take the bye.
I agree.
Got 1 vote for the bye, Gio. 1 vote to play the game. The Jet 305 can't leave it to the committee. Exactly. We can't. We just got to keep blowing out teams. Cali Kane, Miami isn't getting a bye. Well,
only world that I think only,
right?
Yeah, I think only world that they do is you'd have to have some chaos with some teams like for example, Indiana getting blown out in the Big Ten championship, or Texas A&M or Alabama getting blown out, that they move much further down in the rankings. Or what's some other examples I could give here? Oregon just falling out of the entire playoff picture, which is very possible. It is. They still have Washington and USC, and Oregon's been very, very shaky. Mm-hmm. They're not guaranteed a spot right now.
Now, obviously, we could lose this week, but if we win, let's just say right off the bat, and Oregon loses to Minnesota, which is possible. Minnesota's 6-3, not a terrible team. They are 25-point underdogs. Let's see. Pittsburgh beats Notre Dame, which is possible. Then you've got Oklahoma. Alabama beats Oklahoma, which is possible. Obviously, they're favored in that game by 6 points. Who else do we have here? That's 3 teams right there that could lose. You've got Mississippi could lose to Florida. They lost to them last year. That's 4 teams in play. And Utah could lose to Baylor. I mean, it's only 8.5-point spread there. That's 5 teams in play this week.
Baylor's got a pretty good quarterback, too.
And Texas is playing Georgia. So one of those is going to lose. That's 6 possible teams could lose this week. So let's just say Miami wins convincingly, 50-0, 52-10. And those 6 teams that we need to lose. Does Miami move from number 15 to number 9?
Absolutely. Okay. And well, here's the other thing. I don't even think you need 6 teams to lose. I think it was proven tonight that the committee will be willing to leapfrog Miami or even other teams over another, even if a team didn't lose their game or if a team was on a bye week. We just saw this right now. They put Miami over Georgia Tech. You know what that tells me? Like I said earlier, I think they don't want a smaller market ACC team. They'd prefer a bigger market team like your Miami, Florida State, Clemson in a 12-team playoff. I think that's obvious. You know, a lot of it boils down to money at the end of the day and viewership. The other thing I think things boil down to in terms of leapfrogging teams is also the perception. Would you prefer a Miami team in the playoff or a Duke or SMU or whatever? Like, even though SMU beat Miami, what would viewership prefer? What would the committee prefer? I'm sure the committee would prefer Miami to be there over a team with a smaller market like that. Duke, I shouldn't say small market because they have a big market in basketball, but their football viewership is nowhere near the same.
We thought the same thing Miami SMU last year. They had a chance to put Miami ahead of SMU when SMU lost their bowl game.
Yeah, well, the ACC championship game. Well, the other thing that came into play there too, I'm just being very factual here. There was no reason why Alabama should have gotten over Miami last year, being a 9-3 team. Just like I don't think there should be any 3-loss team getting in this year, but could it happen? We'll see. I mean, I just think it's terrible practice to put a 3-loss team in.
Especially that we beat Notre Dame. So I don't have a problem with Notre Dame if we close that gap and then we maybe leapfrog them. But we obviously have to beat Pittsburgh one way or the other. See Florida Boy 42. Do you think the coaches trust Beck?
I think so. Do I think maybe they've reined it in some aspects when that Louisville game happened? Absolutely. But I do think that they still have trust in him.
Jet 305, you could have a chance. Yep, you could have a chance at a home playoff game. Correct. We have 3 chances for home playoff games. We have, if we get a bye, if we get the 5 through 8 slot, not a bye, but the 5 through 8 slot. That's right, the bye I said before. 5 through 8, we can be the home field. We have a chance if we get to the second round, right, the quarterfinals. Is Miami automatically going to be in the Orange Bowl game because of regionals? Because it's an ACC bowl?
I would have to look into that. I haven't looked entirely into it, like where the matchups will be and whatnot and how it works out. But from my understanding from before, yeah, it should be Hard Rock Stadium for the quarterfinal if Miami gets there.
All right, so we got a chance at 5 through 8, which is probably not likely, but it could happen. We have a chance at the Orange Bowl game in the quarterfinals. Then we just have to win that game, beat somebody in the semis, whoever it is, and then we just have to go ahead and then we'll get the home game of the championship game. So we could have 3 out of 4 playoff games in the playoffs.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Of course, we can lose to North Carolina State this week and be out. So it could be anyone's game. So I totally understand it. And
one game at a time.
One game at a time. So we could have 3 out of 4, or we could just be completely out this week. The season over, and everybody's crying, fire everybody. Jake, let's just get to the playoffs and get a seat at the grown folks table.
I agree.
We don't need to be at the kids table anymore. I think there is no way Miami gets a bye, Jet 305. I think you are correct, but stranger things have happened. But I do agree with you. I would bet it. I'm pretty crazy. Hassan, Gabby still thinks Stewart will still commit to Miami, even if he is still visiting Georgia. Gio, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Only one caveat to it, though. The decision, from what I understand, will come after that visit. Him and the family will sit down. A lot of the private education factor is coming into play in terms of his decision. That is one of the cards that Miami's been holding in this recruitment. It's also why Vanderbilt's been very much involved. Georgia, obviously being the local school, gives them, some type of edge, whichever way. But Miami has felt pretty confident going into this week. He's actually visited Miami twice in the past month. There's more than just this past visit, but it's a little more detailed than everything. And then the other thing as well, Georgia also has like 4 safeties in their recruiting class. There's only so many safeties that you could take in a class, and how many guys that are actually going to play. So bottom line is Georgia can continue trying to play keep away and whatnot. I do think it's one that Miami could win over there. And the reason why I say it is Miami's been very consistent and thorough with him. Georgia was not on Stewart when Miami was on him like 6-7 months ago. Miami's been very consistent. And sometimes, despite NIL and everything else going on in college football landscape today, relationships still do matter to an extent. And I say that because Miami's going after a defensive lineman in Nolan Wilson, who's been committed to Alabama since the summer. A lot of the reason why he's still been committed there has to do with relationships. It's more than just NIL.
Mm-hmm. Howard Stern, imagine we have everybody lose and we go to the playoffs and Mario chokes again. Well, if we get to the playoffs, I think the season's not a choke. But yes, the only way, I guess, are you considering the only way he's not choking if we win it all, or if he does something at the end like he did a couple of games ago or Georgia Tech?
I think I know who's using this burner account.
Oh, you know who is Howard Stern? Okay, there you go.
I'm not going to say who, but
Mario Christopher. It's not Nevin, is it? The Jet 305. Win these 3 games and let the chips fall where they may. Absolutely, yep. Jet. I 100% agree. Wow. Ralph says the same thing. Just win these 3 games. Both have been mid, LOL. Patrick, to answer your question from my last comment, I'm a Canes fan. Yes, Patrick, I thought so. I'm a Canes fan, and my apology, we're ranked number 15 in the CFP poll, which I'm pretty sure you 2 already know. Yes, thank you, Patrick. We have seen you around, and I think we know you. And yes, we definitely know that you're a Canes fan. Thank you for reiterating that. Howard Stern, what's up with all these 3 stars? We need Lamborghini and Ferrari, not Honda Accord. All righty.
Well, here's the thing. I hate doing this because it falls in line with the Ed Reed was a 0-star, and Sean Taylor was a 3-star, and Cam Ward was a 0-star. At the end of the day, there's so many guys that fall through the cracks that don't get ranked or ranked very low, or guys that were ranked really high and just don't pan out. At the end of the day, all it boils down to is evaluations and track record. And, people just have to see as it comes along, because I go back to the Texas A&M recruiting classes that Jimbo Fisher was getting. The results were not showing up for them. So bottom line, it's coaching, development, and obviously getting the horses in the stable, but coaching and development above all else, and especially development even before coaching. You can coach up a guy or whatnot, but if you can't get like their body right or just get them mentally right, it's just a waste at the end of the day. So here's the other thing I'll mention on that. JJ Dunnigan's was top 100 prospect in the country. The Anthony Lafayette, I believe he's up near the 300s right now. He's a 4-star as well, both of those guys. Then you couple the most recent commitment as well, and Chakwara as who just committed today. So, and I don't expect Miami to be done this week either. I do expect more for them, but again, is what it is. Miami will still land some more blue chips in this recruiting class, though. I hear you, though. I know some people love the star rankings and everything, but I try not to get too warped up into that. And the reason why I say that is there is a little bit of politics in that, too. I say there's a little bit of politics in that because I was in the recruiting industry before, and I kind of know how those things work out. So,
I always say that too about rankings. There was a basketball player that's still playing. What they said about his shooting, I remember when he was going into the NBA. He's seen as someone who could sometimes rush or overshoot his shots. He can't get around the screen that well. He's not physical enough to get the ball when he needs to. And that player is considered the greatest three-point shooter of all time, Steph Curry. And he was the NBA. It was not good at all in him, and in college as well. So you just never know. Is it coaching up, or sometimes these guys become better athletes as they get older?
Well, that, and then even though I think this is a crime and travesty in itself, people bring up how Malachi Tony was ranked a 3-star. So originally he was a 4-star before he reclassified. Even before he reclassified, he was up like in the 30s of receiver rankings. And even I felt at the time, I'm like, this is way off. And then how I saw how he played in his last year, I'm like, man, this kid's ridiculous. Like, I see why everyone's calling him Baby Jesus, even before he got to Miami. And then he won the Nat Moore Trophy. And there's a lot of history behind the Nat Moore Trophy, especially the recent winners. You're talking about Jeremiah Smith, Reuben Bain, Malachi Tony, all very special talents in their own right. So I think that award has some pretty good prestige behind it. Him being ranked a 3-star even after reclassifying was ridiculous in itself. So again, there's so many different ways you can go with the star rankings and whatnot. And if you want to talk about star rankings, Miami has the #1 overall player in the recruiting class right now.
Absolutely.
And if I'm going to be honest, a lot of people complained about Miami's recruiting class last year because of the ranking, that it was just outside the top 10. But by a star average rating, like the average of the class, it was Mario's best class since he had arrived. It was just smaller in volume, not as many guys. And if you ask me, I think they've made a pretty big impact. Some of those true freshmen already, I think, relative to like his first class, the 2023 group.
And as we've seen when coaches have beat us, sometimes they could take their 3 stars or 2 stars and beat our 4 stars and 5 stars. It's not always that we saw that Miami is 8th in the last 3 years, or last 3 years in recruiting, and 6th in the transfer portal. Nobody in the ACC is close, but some reason these guys beat us. And Mario went on record saying SMU has as much talent, right?
It's not all about the Jimmies and Joes. Sometimes it's X's and O's that play a factor.
Bum Phillips once said about Don Shula, he'll take yoursums and beat William with hisms, or something like that. He'll take hisms and beat him with yoursism. It was a great comment that I've totally muttered. Jeff 305, BYU is going to lose one more. Gio and I agree with that too. I think it's going to be tough, but we'll see what happens. Tell Gio I said go to sleep, Chad.
Chad, that old buddy of mine.
Okay, the Jet 305. Not a surprise, Miami always gets more penalties than their opponents. True, but is this the worst year ever, possibly? That nobody, 4 holding penalties, if you're joining us on late, on that Miami. We know Bain has held every single play pretty much, and they've only called 4 total holding penalties on the other side. That is as egregious as a non-call as I've ever seen. It's 4. Sometimes they hold them 4 times on a play. Howard Stern, Manny would be better head coach than Mario. Manny the sports writer.
That's funny.
Right. Sponsor that, Manny.
I'm going to tell Manny that.
BYU will have trouble at Cincinnati. I think they will, but we'll see what happens. What do you think, Gio? BYU, Cincinnati can beat BYU?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Cincinnati has a really good quarterback in Brennan Sorsby. He's actually under the same training tree as Cam Ward, has the same QB trainer.
Sounds like a network marketing training. Jet 305, that game was a damn robbery with that game. Yes. No calls, no calls everywhere. Time to let the freshmen loose. Malachi Tony's a 3-star. Do you want him? Exactly. What was Pringle, by the way? Was he a 3 or 4?
He was a 4.
A 4. Jet 305. That was an awesome.
But he was originally a 3 that moved up to a 4.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He was actually, funny enough, he's a coach merit early find, actually, because when they wanted him originally, he was only really getting recruited by like USF and smaller schools. And then when Coach Merritt came to Miami and like Pringle was his guy, he was like, I want this guy. Like he needs to be in the class.
Mhm.
Then he shot up the rankings, and then Florida came, and Georgia and Alabama, all these other programs were interested in him. Again, like there's a lot of politics that come into the star rankings that people do not realize. Cam Pruitt, another guy, he was a 3-star, he became a 4-star. Miami's got a couple guys in their class this year that were 3 stars originally that have become 4 stars. There's a lot of politics that are in play.
You know, he reminds me a little of, I know now a few years ago people would have said he's better than him, but he reminds me a little of Achane. I mean, Achane had a great game for the Dolphins this year. He's obviously got blazing speed at a Texas A&M, but he reminds me a little of that.
Pringle's got similar speed.
Yeah,
4 on the 100 meter.
That would turn out to be great for us. The Jet 305 was an awful call, especially them trying to hold them up too. Yeah, the call, obviously, Lightfoot, but we know that Miami is not going to get the calls, which is sad. That's why we don't call timeouts at the last second. I still don't know how you reverse that call in the field. I think he's talking about the pass interference.
Pass interference, yeah.
I mean, throw the flag. They did it in this game too. Didn't they throw a flag in this game and pick it up also against us?
I can't recall.
And they threw a flag, and it's like, okay, what is this with these flying flags? It's a blatant interference. I can see if you miss it. We called it. On second thing, it really wasn't that bad. You know, he just pulled him down. The ASCC hates Miami, man. The only thing I have to say, Jethro, but I think every conference hates Miami, don't you, Gio?
Yeah.
I think if we're playing an SEC team, whoever we're playing, their refs hate us. It's just bad when our hometown refs hate us. Rhett never holds back. I love Rhett's attitude. Did Mario ever say anything about the reffing out in public?
From the SMU game, the only thing that was shared was that they submitted certain plays to the ACC for review afterwards, and they still hadn't received a response about it.
This is so bad. We're not even going to comment on it.
No, the crazy thing about it is now the ACC, at least through the social media accounts, they're trying to prop up Miami and like even about like Miami compared to Notre Dame. And I'm like, here we go again. You're like weeks late to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You're weeks late to the dancing ball, ACC, and Jim Phillips. Jim Phillips is the commissioner of the ACC. He's weeks late. Why was there no propping up beforehand? Miami should be a playoff team. Like,
because those other teams didn't lose. I think the 2 teams lost in the ACC, and then he brought it up. If Virginia and Georgia and those teams didn't lose, they didn't care because they wanted an ACC representative. Now they think, hey, because the ACC gets money, right?
Yeah,
if your team goes. So all the teams get. So it makes no sense at all. Like last year, why not?
Hey, maybe Miami will start getting some calls going forward.
Who knows? Who knows? That would be great. 1 milligram. Our fake tough guy coach would never speak out about the refs, unfortunately. He doesn't. That's not the type of guy he is. He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman's gentleman. Jet 305 refs turn into Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder when they are any potential calls. That is so true. It's like, What flag? What flag? We didn't see a flag. 1 milligram. Miami went over a season with no holding calls against opposing offenses. That was a lot. That was the season before last. That's correct. That's what we're talking
about. That's bad. That's
terrible. That's terrible. Pringle a stud. He needs 10 carries. I've heard some people say if Pringle gets the ball in the know, that say if Pringle gets the ball as much as Malachi, you're going to see an awesome 1-2 punch. Ralph, we got it. Gio, Jerry Magalinas, he will be
he'll be swimming with a fish soon.
You can
with the fish or the sharks.
He's going to be swimming at some.
I think that was kind of dangerous. I think that was kind of dangerous that I shared the name.
Exactly.
I might be getting a couple of calls and a knock at my door.
Exactly. If this guy we read tomorrow that he woke up with a horse's head, and there's a note on it that says Gio, we know there's a problem. Okay. Jeff, you have a great vision and feel for the game. Talking about Pringle again. Gio, what's the deal with Scott?
We already spoke about that earlier.
Yes, we've heard some negative things there. Coming off injury, he's got to get his groove back. That I think he's talking about Lyle there. It's like a puzzle putting these all together. Mary said he expects OJ back this week, so obviously he's out this season.
I think he's talking about CJ. Yeah.
CJ. Okay, my apologies. OJ, CJ. Coleman won't be ready for a couple of years. Okay. Why other freshmen are playing? My dudes, it's 11, not 15. Yanir is saying. Is he talking about?
Oh, well, in the
Right.
rankings, they're 15, but in the projection, they're number 11 because it's under the assumption from the ESPN projection that
The win
they
out.
would make it into the ACC game and win the ACC title, which is very, very low chances they're going to make it into
We
the
make it
ACC.
into the ACC game and win out. I think we'll be a lot higher than 11.
Oh yeah, no,
I mean, so yeah, I think we possibly will have a home game. So they're saying if we make it in and get there based on the way it is now, it would be 11. Forget means, but that's without anybody losing that. That's just based on now. Can't they, so why don't they just
the magic? Like I said, magic number is at minimum you want number 10. If you're a Miami fan. Number 10, and you're in.
Which is the year Canes first started, 2010, for that matter.
Hey,
how do you feel about our recent string of commitments? And we haven't said anything about it, but it seems
I like them
every day.
I think JJ Dunnigan profile was very similarly to a guy like Jacoby Thomas. Actually, funny enough, he's much more of a big time recruit compared to what Thomas was coming out of high school. Thomas was a 3-star recruit, ranked like up in the 2000s. First played at Middle Tennessee State, worked his way up to Tennessee, and then transferred to Miami. He kind of worked his way up. Dunnigan also has good bloodlines as well. His father played for both Purdue and Kansas State in the early 2000s. Kansas State with Bill Snyder as a head coach back then. Bill Snyder was a really good coach. So that then after him, you had the Anthony Lafayette, who I know Jason Taylor is personally very high on, and Lafayette in general. Between his last 2 seasons, he's not done with his senior year yet, but his last 2 seasons, he's produced, I believe it's like 35 or 36 sacks. LSU was on him. Oklahoma wanted him too. It's not like smaller programs were on him. It was big programs wanted him in their recruiting classes. So it's a good win for Miami. And then with Chakwara, the D tackle that they got tonight, in regards to him, he was a Penn State commit. And why do I bring that up? Look at the defensive linemen that Penn State have evaluated over the last decade. And then get back to me on that about complaining that, he's a 3-star and this and that. He's also, yes, he's 6'2", but he has a wingspan that's 6'10 and a half. Sometimes as a coach, you look for some of these traits and you say, hey, we could work with this or whatever. Maybe he becomes like this or that or whatever. I know there's a 4-star blue chip D tackle that Miami has on their roster that he has barely played since he arrived. I don't want to say his name, but many people were excited about him when he came in, but he's barely played. He hasn't really sniffed the field and everything. Sometimes it's not about these star ratings. Sometimes it's the development. How well does the kid take in coaching? Just all these factors come into play. It's not all about the star rankings. So I like Miami's recent string of commitments. They're still going to have more, even leading into the early portion of next week. So they're going to be busy.
All righty. Florida claimers Ted, Miami losing to Pittsburgh. He's putting the money down on. So 3 loss, no playoffs. I agree. If we lose, we're out. So we better not lose. Let's see. Apollo, are we getting that 5-star wide receiver from Texas?
He's talking about Jalen Lott. So he's a Texas legacy. He's committed to Oregon right now. Miami's been in contact with him for a little over a month now. Haven't heard anything yet about something concrete about him visiting. So we'll see. But I'll just leave it at that.
Lorraine, welcome to the show. How do we match up against North Carolina State?
So I mentioned that earlier, just about what Miami has to do to contain Bailey in terms of on the perimeter, not allowing him to continuously extend plays. I think Marquise Lightfoot's going to needs to play a big factor in this game. I think the linebackers need to do a good job in terms of their spy responsibilities. Safeties need to be disciplined with their eyes. NC State's going to try to take some deep shots as well. So will be a game that Miami's cornerbacks will be tested. And one last thing I'll mention. I think I brought this up before, but their running back is really talented. Hollywood Smothers. Miami's got to be prepared for him. They absolutely have to be.
Hollywood Smothers is his name?
Yeah, his name's Dalen Smothers, but he goes by Hollywood Smothers.
Like Hollywood Brown, but Hollywood Smothers. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are big favorites again, but obviously that doesn't guarantee us a win. Gio, any signing day surprises? Talk about 5 stars and better. What about the 6 and 7 stars? Howard Stern wants to know. Do we have any of those coming in?
No, but in terms of someone who I think could surprise people, I think Miami's much more in it with Anthony Tank Jones than people realize. I think that's going to be a very tight battle down the stretch. I know they're still involved with guys like Lamar Brown, Bryce Perry Wright, Nolan Wilson. Well, Nolan Wilson's not a 5-star, but those are just some other names that they're still involved with. A lot of focus on defensive line right now, but out of all those names, I think Miami's got the most traction with Anthony Tank Jones at this point. And, well, they're still battling for Dre Quinn, too, with Ohio State. This is kind of a back-and-forth battle between those two schools right now. But Dre Quinn's not a 5-star. So on the topic of 5-star, Anthony Tank Jones, I think that's the one they have the most traction with on the defensive side. And I know they're still going to continue chipping away at Derek Cooper until signing day. Do I think it happens? But, things could change. It's a little, I think it's almost about to be roughly 3 weeks until signing day, basically.
5 rings, 5 rings. His vote is more Pringle, please. Gio says he thinks we're going to see him more this game. Fletcher's not incorrect, so we're going to see more Pringle. Jonathan Crumbly didn't know who 25 was at first. Nice to see Richard back.
Yeah, Jadis Richard is back from his injury. He had got hurt in the Duke game last year on an interception, actually, after he came down with the ball and everything. Some guys kind of ran into his knee, and he was recovering for some time, but he's back now. And he was playing safety, actually. He played cornerback exclusively his first 2 years at Miami.
So, Gio, what's up with Tank? We still at him? That's what you were just answering, correct?
Just talked about him, yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. We're 2/3 through the show here, maybe longer. And first question about JoJo. Usually it's like, when is JoJo going to play? Free JoJo, free JoJo. Now the question is it time to bench JoJo?
Yeah, look, I think it was a tough game for JoJo against Syracuse. Obviously, the drops and little inconsistencies here and there. He flashed against the SMU. Yes, the bobble pass with the interception and whatnot, that was kind of rough as well. I think also what comes into play here too is I think a little bit of rustiness as well. He's been on the field for some time, missed quite some time too, between injury and other off-field stuff and whatnot. I wouldn't give up on him yet. I think he flashed some things, especially in that SMU game, that he has the talent. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes on Green Tree as well. Obviously, the term of Green Tree All-Americans, whatever, but I've seen it against other talented players on this team that JoJo can succeed. Now, when will that be? Everyone's timing is different. Has he flashed some? Yeah. I think he's flashed a bit in certain times when he has played the bowl game or a little bit in that SMU game as well. This past Saturday wasn't the most impressive. It wasn't the most impressive performance, but I do think Miami's going to need him down the stretch in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. He definitely gets open.
Yeah, no, it's at least in terms of like creating separation. I'd put like Malachi, and then it would be like JoJo right after him, and then who else would I say? Like just in terms of purely creating separation, not hands, strength, or anything like that, but just creating separation from defensive backs. I'd put JoJo right there, right behind Malachi Tony on this team.
Well, CJ may not get as much separation, but he definitely catches it in traffic.
Oh, yeah. Very strong hands.
Absolutely. 305 Sports Now. Welcome to the show. Good evening. 305 Sports Now. Miami needs to dominate. Absolutely. Like Joaquin said, we need to dominate. I was posting and everywhere that the path to the playoffs is winning each game by 30 points. We won around there. We won the first game by 28. Hopefully we can do the same this game. That's the most important thing. Not only winning, I think, but we have to have a good presentation for the judges. 818 Cali Kane, we need to see the offense we saw in the first 5 games of the season for the rest of the season, period. Dawson got to call the best game of his life the next 3 games.
Agreed.
I thought he called a great game this game. I thought this was his best game he called.
Yeah.
But I didn't think we executed. So I just didn't think we executed. Like I said, I was really disappointed in the first. Last week, I was obviously on several rants. This week, I just thought after the first 6 drives and 61 yards, you know what? We're just not executing. Maybe we're not that good. If you're not executing, you can't blame the coaches in that respect, I think. Because we have plenty to go ahead and blame them for before that, of course. Howard Stern, we want Bama. Okay, that would be an epic game, Miami versus Oregon in the playoffs. That actually would be.
You want to know what's funny? If Miami did play Oregon in the playoffs, and let's say hypothetically, if Miami won that game, Oregon fans would be absolutely sick because the amount of garbage that they have spewed about Mario since he left is incredible. And the funny thing is Oregon hasn't won anything of significance either since he left.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like have they continued to recruit well? Yeah, and all that. It's great, but they haven't won anything of significance to be that arrogant.
It's like when Mark Richt left Georgia. I mean, I was rooting so hard against Georgia more than ever because Richt, I thought, was a great stand-up guy. But a lot of Georgia fans loved Richt. They loved him as a person, but, a lot of people he couldn't bring him home the title. But then, then they won. Smart won two championships. So it's hard. But in Oregon's case, they haven't won anything. You're right. Let's see. JoJo Gunn, Georgia would not fall below us even with a loss. I don't think so either. I think Texas would, but all signs are pointing to Stewart going to Miami. What do you think of that, Gio?
Yeah, I spoke about that earlier. Miami's got to try to survive through that Georgia visit this weekend. They're going to try to pull out all the stops, even though they got 4 safeties committed in their class.
727 Canes, ACC needs to fix the schedule issue within the conference. Too many teams just don't play anyone that good.
You know how you fix that, 727? Go back to divisions. This has been a hotly debated topic with many conferences moving away from divisions. Bring back the Atlantic and the Coastal, please. I think this removes a lot of this discussion.
Mm-hmm. But, there was a time Louisville and Florida State were in the same side, and they were the 2 dominant teams in the conference.
Yeah.
So it's difficult sometimes like that, but I agree. But the point is, how much in advance do they make the schedule for the conference?
Oh, at least the teams they're going to play, it's decided like years in advance.
Okay, so they don't say, okay, all right, that's good. Howard Stern, does Stewart have a committable offer right now from George?
From Georgia? Yes, he does.
Okay. UGA. Mario is more likely to win a playoff game than beat any middling ACC team, 1 milligram says. I kind of agree with that.
You know what's funny about that? I've brought that up actually, and I think within the recent weeks that, I know people have a lot of complaints about like the ACC stuff and whatnot, but when Miami has played like tough out of conference opponents, at least in Mario's regime here, they've won majority of those actually. It's really maddening to think about.
You can't play any worse than we played against the ACC. We were 4-11 in November, right? Going into this game. So this game
now 5-11 now.
Now we're 5-11. So hopefully we finish the year 8-11 in November. But I just have to say if Mario needs to think of every one of these games is a playoff, and he needs to destroy and dominate. And it's just
by the way,
we win by 1 point.
I don't think it's necessarily a Mario thing of November. Like, yeah, it has been when he's been here, but at Oregon, I think when I had looked it up, he was like 12-4 after November at Oregon. So, is it out of the realm of possibility he could get Miami out of that funk? No, I don't think it's impossible.
The Miami Dolphins are terrible in November too. So I don't know if it's anything about these guys come and they just love South Florida and they say, heck it, who wants to play in a little cooler weather?
Brett, it's because of the Indian burial ground under Hard Rock Stadium.
That could be it. Malachi George Bads is 3-star. Sean Taylor was a 5-star. Gio Kane says.
5-star talent, but actually, according to some I think Steve Kinn showed me before. There were some press clippings on it back then that Sean Taylor was ranked like a 3-star by some services.
Well, see, not everybody knows what's going on. Let's see. It's been proven over again. You can't win a championship without elite recruiting.
No, I agree. I think you have to be at minimum within that top 10 range to truly be in the discussion.
But Miami was winning their 5 championships, their first four especially, and they played for the championship every year almost for 9 straight years. They were not a top recruiting team in those days. I know it was a different time. Some people think it's the dark ages. It was the 80s or early 90s, but they were never the best recruiting team.
Yeah.
And the teams like Alabama and those teams, we were killing those teams, and they were. Star rankings are in comparison to PFF grades. 818 Cali Kane. 818 Cali star rankings are the same as those trash PFF grades.
So I wouldn't call PFF entirely trash or anything like that. I think it's a nice tool to use, like in terms of metrics of like efficiency rates for offenses and defenses, how good a receiver is against certain coverage, whether it's zone, whether it's man, snap count alignment, like in terms of how many snaps is the guy playing in the slot, how many snaps is the guy playing at safety or linebacker or this or that. And even the other one, mainly just pressures. I think it pressures and offensive line metrics too, because I think it shows a lot of how good a pass rusher is rather than just looking at stats, which I think misleads a lot of people, because a guy could rack up several sacks mainly because his teammate may be forcing that pressure that a quarterback may run into the other guy, which has happened a lot with Ruben Bain around this program. He makes the guys around him better.
Tony made everybody better in American Heritage. I think Bell is a little overrated. He didn't look the same without Tony.
Yeah, he's talking about Tony's old high school quarterback, and he got hurt again this year. But yeah,
Gio, they have the #1 overall player, but after that, they actually have one player in the top 100, and it's a kid that just committed from Kansas. We're not in Kansas anymore.
They actually have 2. Izzy Briggs from California, the tight end.
All
He's
right.
another top 100 kid.
Yeah,
And well, technically, I mean, I don't look at the rankings too much these days, but every now and then I'll check it out just to see where Miami's ranked and kind of where their guys are ranked at by the services. Samorian Wingo is actually a top 100 guy, depending on which site you look at too. He's had a really big senior year.
Eduardo Sexton, does CanesWear sell 4XL? We sell 4XL if they carry it in most T-shirts and most polos. We go up to 5X in T-shirts and polos. Jerseys now with Adidas are only going to 3X. For whatever reason they changed, but the 3X, the jerseys are oversized and they fit big, so a 3X is like a 4X. We do carry the Mitchell and Ness up to 5X though, which was the Sean Taylor and Ed Reed. We're low on those right now, out of most sizes, but we have plenty coming in next year. So, but the bottom line is, in the majority of items, we do carry a 4X. CanesWear.com, or give us a call at the store or our app, CanesWear.com. Howard Stern, you can give Mario the Ritz-Carlton, and he will turn it into a Motel 6. We will keep the lights on for you. 1 milligram of epinephrine. There's never been a national championship with less than 60% blue chip ratio. You need coaching too, but coaching alone won't cut it.
I agree. And that's also why I'm going to say this. I know people love Indiana and everything. I still think Indiana has some kinks in the armor this year, despite some of their performances, and I think it's going to show up in the playoffs again.
It's hard to imagine they're going to get too far. We'll see. They're going to be playing the best team in the country, possibly in the Big Ten championship or the big.
I think Ohio State's going to slaughter them.
Possibly. I don't think so, but we'll see. When you guys getting the #10 Malachi Tony jerseys? Good point, Howard Stern. We have been. We were hoping to have them by this week, but I'm not sure. But hopefully we will for the holidays. A lot of people want it. We know Malachi is obviously going to be the star for next year, so we definitely are getting Malachi. Hassan, with all the money NCAA, hey, they should hire full-time refs instead of part-time. I agree. What do you think, Gio?
Yeah. Considering the amount of money that's involved with the sport
it's
now,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much money. Howard Stern, stick to your talk show. Hilarious. You think you know more about talent acquisition than Mario. Raf Lopez. Thank you, Raf.
He says, "Okay, Mario lover, ref. 3 stars are not game changers, buddy." Miami's player has been very good. Even the players they did not get have been freshman All-Americans and beyond.
We're turning
no,
into
that's
the
true.
Howard Stern show. We may be canceled soon.
Hassan said, "If the ACC cares about Miami, then they should do something against the refs." Yeah,
Thank you, Hassan.
it's the numbers are very damning when you take a look at it.
Yeah, somebody's got to look at it.
How many 5-star? How many directions said it? So, 1 milligram of epinephrine said, "We probably won't see Pringle again until the bowl game." Wow. Oh, that would be tough for some fans.
Oh, that would be very tough.
He's got a lot of people loving him right now.
Why go back to things that were good?
Shaylin Noel, they're saying we get in above the conference champ. So there's a caveat to that, like I explained earlier. That is if like a team like Duke or SMU wins the ACC, there's a chance that they could be ranked lower than a USF and even a James Madison. And like, let's say, for example, like James Madison would be the first one that would be the highest ranked of those two. Let's say James Madison is ranked over a Duke or SMU when it's all said and done after conference championship week. That's the scenario where Miami can get in over the conference champ. If the conference champ, basically what it boils down to, the 5 highest ranked conference champions. So how they are ranked within the playoff rankings is those top 5, the winners of their conference in the championship games. Those are the ones that get the auto bids, 7 at large. So, again, a lot of circumstance there. You would have to, like, if SMU gets in and wins it all, or Duke gets in and wins it all for the ACC, that it's still a lot to be played out. So the more safe bet you want and what Miami would want, work your way up to number 10, and it is doable. Miami could move up to possibly even 12 by this time next week.
That would be spectacular. Gives the fans. So, but all we ask from the fans right now, Gio, is to come out. I know everybody from this show is coming out, but we need to tell everybody, let's go, let's fill the Rock, let's pack the Rock. Possibly the last game of the season at home. And if it's not, we just get free football.
Yeah.
Fran Brown versus Mario in a fight. Who you guys got?
I got Mario.
Mario's a wrestling fan, isn't he? Didn't we?
Yeah, he's a big time wrestling fan.
I can see Mario getting him in a body slam, a figure 4. I can see Mario going on there. Steel cage.
No, Mario's not a little guy. People don't realize that. I mean, unless you've met him in person, but I think Mario's about like 6'3", and he's not a scrawny guy. Yeah.
Teams will lose. Big hate. Watch this weekend, boys. Miami will get in.
Big hate watch weekend. I love the term.
I like that too. We want Bama. Penn State knows how to recruit, i.e. Mika Parson, Abdul Corridor. They definitely have
even more. There's been more guys than that.
Yeah, they've got.
Actually, funny enough, one of the D tackles that Penn State has right now, who has a ton of NFL buzz, and Zane Durant. He came from the same high school that DeAnthony Lafayette, Miami's recent pass rusher commit, like the other day, 4-star that they flipped from LSU. Same high school as that kid, DeAnthony Lafayette. And actually, Lafayette broke Zane Durant's records. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but still impressive. He's a blue chip recruit. Both LSU and Oklahoma wanted him. So, it is what it is.
How big do you expect this recruiting class to be from Carlos?
Well over 30. I think a sweet spot number I would give it, I think it could reach up to about 31 or 32.
Awesome.
It'll be Mario's biggest recruiting class.
Mm-hmm. So, and the recruiting is, when is that class announced?
December 3rd is the first day of the early signing day period. So it's a 3-day period, 72-hour window, and that'll be from the 3rd to the 5th.
So we are 3 weeks away from that.
Yeah, and then the transfer portal will open up like the very next week as well.
And this is all happening while you're possibly in the playoffs.
Well, conference championship week, actually, which Miami won't have to worry about because I have some reverse psychology here. They don't have to worry about it.
I like that. I like
it in now.
Raf, defense is not an issue. It's all about Miami offense versus North Carolina State.
Yeah,
Good
I
point.
agree.
The defense plays their game. Miami, what do they need to score? But we'll see. We got to contain that 6'6" quarterback. That could be the future Miami quarterback. So we don't want to beat him up too bad. Gio, if Miami doesn't get Lott or Russell, are they done with wide receiver recruiting?
I know there was one other one that they had some communication with. Well, two actually. One is more so a guy that they had a lot of interest in the summer, and that was Chase Matthews, who's committed to Auburn. I haven't heard much anymore about that. I know Miami was interested, but haven't heard much traction coming out of that. And the other one is, oh my God, what's his name again? Kind of flying under the radar to some people because Miami didn't get him in for any like visits during this year, but he did visit Miami in the past. There was some contact with Naeem Burrows from Clemson at one point, but that's kind of dead right now. So, would they be done? Yeah, probably. If they don't get one of those two, and thing with Calvin Russell, at the end of the day, it's like Miami's not pushing the envelope on the situation, but I want to see what he does when it comes to signing day, because I mean, you ask me like any rational reasoning, like why would you go to a program that's 3-7 in Syracuse and not really known for football outside of Donovan McNabb, basically, or Jim Brown, which you got to go way back. By the way, shout out to Jim Brown and his acting career too, that not many people are familiar with unless you saw those movies. But Mars Attacks, I'm sure you might remember that movie, Brett, with the aliens in the brain and everything. Yeah, Mars Attacks. Yeah, Jim Brown was in that movie.
Jim Brown acting. Yeah,
he
was quite I mean, he was an amazing lacrosse player. Also, they say possibly the greatest lacrosse player.
I could imagine.
Yeah, so it's
yeah, I would expect Miami to be done there though if they can't grab one of those two at the end.
That'd be great. Raf thinks Cooper is overrated. Interesting.
Some people believe that. I think he's a really good athlete. Just maybe not as natural at running back right now, but some people think he could be a tremendous linebacker too.
Hadi Johnson, welcome to the show. Thanks to Terry Porter for showing the refs how to even the playing field with the Canes. Excellent point. You think he's the one that started it all. Thank you very much, Terry Porter, for doing that. Gio, do you think Miami will at least get one of those 5-star defensive linemen?
Yeah, so I mentioned that earlier, the one they have the most traction with.
I hope this is not the case. A lot of rumors Jason Taylor might be leaving after this year. What are you hearing, Gio?
I haven't heard much on that. I know they have a younger child right now. The family seems pretty happy. One of his sons is actually playing on the team right now, so we'll see. I haven't heard anything in regards to that. I know for the past 2 years, there's been like several LSU rumors, and even at one point there was Ohio State rumors, but nothing ever really came about that.
818, I'd rather Miami go after the 3/4 stars in South Florida, and then get the 5 stars from Cali, Texas, and other states. So far, kids are all divas when being recruited by Miami.
Yeah, some give Miami a hard time or put Miami up to strange situations that they wouldn't have to deal with kids from other states. It's it's like really weird. Just like even the expectations as well. Like, oh, I got to see more from Miami. What do you mean you got to see more from Miami? You got to see more from Miami, but you're giving this other school so much attention that what are they doing better than Miami right now? Or they're roughly the same, or potentially worse. Like it's insane. Some of the hoops that they have to jump through, honestly. And there's nowhere else but South Florida like this. I'm sorry to say it.
But Miami's got to win. If Miami wins, I think that'll be less.
Oh, I think it's diminishing much more over time. But there's just still some kids that are just.
Yeah, it's like dating the girl, or the guy that's from out of town versus the one that's right there, in your school. Lorraine, excellent question. What happened to the live commitment events? Were those passed?
Yeah, not so many anymore. Most of the time you see those would be in the summer, and then you'll have some during the early signing period, like that first day or two, and that's about it. They just don't happen as much as before. A lot of kids, they'll have their graphic edit. They'll send a message to Hayes Fawcett about 24, 48 hours before, sometimes a week in advance. Hayes Fawcett is the young kid that does all the graphic edits for On3, and he posts it when the kid's ready to announce, and that's about it. A lot of kids are not doing the live announcements anymore.
Yeah, so it's I'm worried about Miami, Jake says. I assume he's talking about recruiting. Was we talking about recruiting?
I'm not sure.
Raf, Oregon won the Big Ten, did they not? Last year, correct?
Mario won the conference too.
That's just
when
true.
he was at Oregon. They said, "Oh no, Mario can't take us to the promised land." What happened last year with Oregon in the playoff? They got blown out off the field by Ohio State, a team they beat during the season when it didn't matter.
They won the Big Ten.
Again, I'm not a Mario apologist or anything like that. I try to be fair, but I'm being fair.
He did win. He won the Big Ten. That's right, and that was one of the big things. He finally learned to win there. But
Oregon, it hasn't been much different since he's left. I know people think like perception-wise, but it really hasn't.
Yeah, perception-wise, people do think they're better off now. But you're right. It'd be great if Mario, like you said, if Mario beat Oregon in the playoffs. What you said
there'd be
earlier,
a lot of pissed off
Oregon fans will be as depressed as can be. Let's see. Let's see. They won the Big Ten first year in. Ducks are good. All right. They are good, but hopefully if they lose this week, they may drop behind us, hopefully, if we win. What does CJ struggle with, Eddie Delva?
Is he talking about Daniels? I'm not sure.
Know. All right.
I think he's talking about CJ Bailey.
Oh, CJ Bailey. Okay.
This dates back from high school. I've watched some of his games this year. I would say, in my opinion, yes, he brings the aspect of being able to be mobile and whatnot. I would say mostly if you can get pressure on him, like if you can actually get defensive linemen in front of him, doesn't do well with pressure in his face. And that dates back to when he was at Chaminade. Even though he had Jeremiah Smith and all these other guys, they had a really great team, but that is what he struggles with. And a lot of quarterbacks do. Some quarterbacks are tremendous under pressure, but not everyone's the same.
True. ACC needs to end the conference championship and just simply crown the highest committee-ranked team as their champion. No point in having the championship games anymore, Scott Price.
I agree.
Thinking that now.
All
it's a detriment to you. The team can squeak in to the playoffs by winning it, but it's a detriment. It's not like college basketball where it's a lottery, and if you win the championship, you could be five-team. You could be middle of the pack and get into the tournament and win it. It's different. That to me is, it's like a lottery. Everyone's got to play for it.
Oh, I think the committee is showing very clearly what they think of the conference as a whole.
And now that they've expanded the games so much that they really need it.
Yeah.
They're going out so far.
Let's see. Howard Stern, Fred Rouse to Miami Hurricanes. Oh, man, that is an old school name.
Fred Rouse. Howard Stern show continuing.
Nice guy. Go home and play with your kids. We need a shark here. And then he said, Manny Navarro can block better than the left guard McCoy. No BS. Oh my God. I'll make sure to tell Manny that.
Yes.
I hope we get Calvin. Howard says, Gio, make it make sense to me. We have double the amount of players committed in Orlando than all of South Florida. It's not a really good year in South Florida. It really is not. It's not a top-heavy year. And I've actually been saying this to people, and some people try to fight me on this, but even to the point that South Florida has been losing, at least the powerhouse programs down here, they've been losing like the last 2 or 3 years, many games to the out-of-state teams that are coming down here for the big opening weekend jamboree for high school games. They've been losing all across the board. Not good.
Gio, you said
Miami
earlier this year,
South Florida used to dominate that every year.
and you said earlier this year, one of the first podcasts we did, that they are not the Mecca that they used to be. That Georgia, you said, was coming on, correct? I think Texas, but you said Georgia for sure.
Georgia, especially, yes, the state of Georgia. Look at the amount of kids that Miami recruits from the state of Georgia.
See, I don't care where the kid. I
Even
mean,
Alabama, and Texas, the amount of kids they recruit from Georgia.
Mm-hmm. But I think there's going to be up and down years. There always is. It's not going to be.
There's ebbs and flows to it.
You guys, so Adidas, I know has when our Adidas reps here, Adidas just signed Miami-Dade County, I guess, so they're going to clothe all of the schools. You probably heard that too, right, Gio? But they're going to clothe all the schools in Dade County, and also money and other things. So they will be geared up really well with Adidas. So. Yeah. So that's, I think that'll be an advantage that they're going to put money into all these schools, which is exciting. So, any more comments here, Gio? We're almost out.
Yeah. Howard Stern shared here. AI can run college football better than the NCAA. Freedomville shared. The Canes aren't good enough still, and y'all should fire Mario. Same old Canes every year. Oh, we got a hater.
Hater, baby, hater.
Bo Handsome. I've known Bo for plenty of time now. I got to see more from Miami. Sounds like something they heard their bitter dads and uncles say over the years and started parroting. Possibly. M Lemon Management. Got to meet Willis McGahee Saturday at Hard Rock. Real good guy. True Canes legend. Yes, he is. I've had the chance to.
He was in the store for a signing with Brian McKinney for the Bahamas, and great guy, Willis. He's been to the store a couple of times, and just an awesome individual.
Yeah, let's see. New King God said, did you all see the latest tweets from Manny Navarro regarding Miami and the penalties? Yes, we did. We discussed that. The fact also, the one also as well, that only 4 holding penalties on the opposing teams against Miami all year. And you watch week in and week out that Bain is getting clotheslined and hugged by offensive linemen and Mesidor as well. It's insane.
Can somebody find out how many holding calls were against each other team? How many against us and how many against all the other teams? Because if they're all double digits and it's only 4 against us, then we know something's rotten. We already know something's rotten and fishy, but.
Howard Stern said, M Lemon Management, I thought Willis was banned. Yeah, no, I actually heard about that story because before it became public, someone had tipped me off about it. I was just like, wow, I was kind of surprised by it.
That situation, yeah.
Yeah. New King God, did you speak on the K Scott situation already? Yes, we did. And I spoke a little in detail on that earlier in the show, but who do I think will replace him? You'll see Xavier Lucas out there getting some of those reps, and a little bit of Cam Pruitt, and possibly some Isaiah Taylor as well. Hassan said, Gio and Brett, what drives me crazy, how the kids from Miami throw up the 305 when they play Miami. If you care about the city, then stay here and play for Miami and represent your city. So there is some circumstances to that. There's been situations in the past on guys that Miami kind of dissed under previous coaches, and they go to another school and they just beat up on Miami. It's just kind of ironic in that way. And then there's been other scenarios where it's been guys that Miami has passed on. Like, for example, Isaac Brown. I know everyone probably still wonders to this day, how the heck did Isaac Brown end up at Louisville? Isaac Brown had visited Miami like 2 or 3 times the spring right before his senior year, was super interested in Miami, wanted to be here and everything. And the running back coach at the time, Tim Harris Jr., just didn't want him. He preferred other guys over him. And, Louisville was consistent, and that was that. Or Stanquan Clark, another example at Louisville, that the linebacker they have. I know he really liked Miami, but just Miami was kind of late to the game. They didn't really prioritize him until late into his senior year when he transferred to Central. So it is what it is. M Lemon Management said Willis was there, and him and a friend. He's not banned from attending, just banned from the field and team activities. Oh, wow. 818 Calicane said, sorry, I ask this every time. Any update on new era fitted hats for the Canes, or wait till next season or baseball season?
Yes, I did mention that before, 818, but thanks for asking that again in case anyone missed it. New Era is going to be handling a lot of the Adidas caps from now on, so we're hoping to get them for next year. We don't right now. We put in orders for this year, but it doesn't look like they have anything really available.
Yeah.
Another guy that wanted to come here is Elijah Moore. Wanted to come here so bad. His uncle,
His family, yeah.
they wanted it so
His
bad.
his uncle was a famous Kane fan on message boards way back. He went by FSU who I remember.
Oh, really?
Paul. Yeah, I believe his name is Paul.
And Elijah, just the Canes did not, and they passed up on him, and they missed obviously a great opportunity because he lit it up.
He would have killed to come here.
Yes, he would have killed to come here, and he's still in the NFL, which is pretty. So it's, but he had, where was he again? That he had the great Arkansas. Where was he again? That he had the great year?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah. So
Ole Miss, and then he went to the Jets and everything. And I know he was with the Browns at one point. I'm not sure which team he is with right now.
So no, but he had quite the college career.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we could have definitely used him. I think we've almost the end of the question. Someone snuck one in. You know.
Howard Stern said, "Gio, will Jeremiah Smith be the best player out of Dade County 15 years from now?" Well, we got to see how his NFL career goes, but his college career has just been tremendous. Handsome. Luckily, Mirabal and Mario teaches proper blocking techniques, so our O-line rarely gets holding calls outside of the BS ones we saw them give Francis versus SMU. Yeah, that pancake that he had, which was also on the Phantom PI. No, not the Phantom PI, the PI that they pulled the flag up.
Mm-hmm.
That was terrible. He pancaked the guy. That was not a holding.
Mm-hmm.
Hassan said, "Gio, will Jordan Campbell be a part of this class? And is Miami recruiting more linebackers? I believe that's a weak part of the team." So I do expect Jordan Campbell to ultimately sign with Miami. I know Syracuse is trying to come on late, but they don't have a ton of traction there from what I understand. And then in terms of other linebackers, there's really not much traction with other guys. Things kind of tapered off with Samarian Watkins, who's committed to Texas A&M. They're not really in that anymore. I know they were evaluating Kamani Morales from American Heritage at one point, but not much has happened there within like the last month and a half. Things have kind of slowed down there. So they'll probably sign the two that they have, Edwards and Campbell. I know a lot of people in the building internally are very high on Edwards. We'll see, if that translates when he gets here. But I do expect them to hit that position very hard during the transfer portal window. Absolutely, because they're going to lose some guys, some veterans. Wesley will be gone. Teray will be gone. Chase Smith will be gone. So they're going to lose several linebackers from the room. So I do expect them to hit that hard in the winter portal. And there's no spring portal this year, so I am sure they have a plan for that. New King God, to be honest, it was smart for Isaac Brown not to come to Miami. Would have put him on the bench and said he was too small and cry about his pass blocking. Plus, we don't seem to use backs like him well. You know what's funny, New King? I said it watching Isaac Brown that I said, damn, how neat would it be if Miami could use Jordan Lyle like him or a guy like Gerard Pringle? Very similar attributes.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. Howard Stern, after COVID, a lot of people move out of South Florida to North Florida, South Georgia, Atlanta, for example. Remember Travis Hunter's from Palm Beach. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Travis Hunter was originally from Palm Beach. Howard Stern, I heard through the grapevine Miami had 2 secret visitors. Do you mind sharing who? It wasn't necessarily a secret or anything. It was D'Anthony Lafayette and Blake Stewart. They just wanted to keep things under wrap with that. But it wasn't anyone else outside of that. Bill Handsome, do you think Mario and Heatherman will prioritize the linebacker room like he did with D-line and DB last 2 years? We haven't had an all-American linebacker talent in almost a decade. Yes, they will. They're absolutely going to attack that.
Great. It's been a while. For a while there were linebacker you.
Yeah, no, I definitely do think Miami needs to step up in the play there. I just don't think it's up to the par with what you expect traditionally from the program.
Howard Stern remembers who FSU, major throwback. So is it FSU who or who FSU?
FSU who, yeah.
And that was last comment. Juan Manuel. Where's Juan Manuel? We snuck it in on Tuesday. We announced it Juan Manuel. But we'll be back Thursday or Friday as well.
Yeah.
This is a special show, and then we'll be back Thursday or Friday. So we expect you to be there, Juan Manuel. We'll figure it out. What, by tomorrow you think, Gio, what we're going to be?
Yeah, we'll have it figured out by tomorrow.
But Juan Manuel, thank you for joining the show. Didn't tell me you were here. We did tell everybody.
There was a post about it earlier today. Yeah.
Posted about it. I posted about it on. We posted it multiple times on X, and we posted about it. I posted about it on Facebook, and and it's obviously on the YouTube. Shouldn't they get if they're set up with FTSN? Shouldn't they get notified about when if they're following
they should get the notification through there, and they should also get it through my YouTube too.
You guys got to go into FTSN, like it, subscribe, and get the notifications. But the show was not the same without Juan Manuel. Now, we could probably be up till 2 in the morning now that Juan Manuel is here. But unfortunately, one of us is going to fall asleep, and his name's Brett. And actually, I don't sleep till 3 in the morning.
Manuel said, last question to Mari Brown to Nickel. You'll see Xavier Lucas there, and little Cam Pruitt, Isaiah Taylor as well. All righty, so everyone, thank you for stopping by. Just check the numbers. Had a little over 3,000 show up with the late night crew tonight. Thank you, everyone, for the support and love. Make sure to shop at CanesWear, Miami Fanwear, located at 2655 South University and Drive in Davie, Florida. And also, if you don't live in Florida, there is a shop online. You can shop at CanesWear.com or on the app now on the Apple and Google store, CanesWear.com app.
Thank you. Yes, thank you guys for listening. Like George says, pack the rock, pack the rock, pack the rock. Nothing is more important than packing the rock this week. We need to I know everybody was down for this last game, Gio. We saw and even we were ranting a little bit, even me. And but you know what? This is the Canes. They showed the offense. They showed that they want to win. Obviously, Mario wants to win as much as anybody. He wants, like you said, to deliver a championship here. We control our own destiny. If we win all 3 of these games, just winning may be enough. But if we win them in decent fashion, the pageantry of the CFP polls, we have a chance to go ahead and go ahead and move up the rankings every week. We play this week, but several other teams play against each other. Next week there could be if we beat North Carolina State, who knows? We could jump 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. But the bottom line is we have to beat North Carolina State. And the only way the fans can really help the players do that is how, Gio?
Pack the rock. Show up to the stadium.
Rock, all right. Thank you to Bobby and FTSN for having us on the network. Please like and subscribe. Gio, everybody knows where to find you. Anything special going on with you right now?
No, it was on WQAM last week. I'll probably be on Locked on Canes soon. Speaking with Donald the other day. Yeah, that's about it, at least for right now. If anything else comes up, I'll let people know on X, on social media.
Yeah, we're going to try to be back Thursday or Friday. We'll figure it out in our schedule. I'll probably try to do a 90-minute show on that one. And obviously the game is Saturday at 3:30. Pack the rock. You can see me at CanesWear online or anywhere. Remember, CanesWear.com. And we look forward to seeing everyone soon. Thank you for joining. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Juan Manuel. Great show. Thank you so much, Hassan. We appreciate it. Wait a second. Breaking news. It's nice to listen to you guys when it's 4 inches of snow and 30 degrees in Toledo, Ohio. Hassan, thank you for making our day a little bit warmer, just hearing that. But stay safe.
Absolutely.
Use your heat, cover up, and we look forward to seeing you guys in a few days. Let's go, Canes. It's all about you.
Go Canes.